So this isn't really planned out as such. It's more like a Joe Rogan kind of
Off the cuff.
off the cuff. Let's kind of go with it style, really. So yeah, this is the Tub Take You Back podcast. Welcome, Jason Fubar, pioneer and absolute unreal DJ.
Try my best.
Yeah. So I mean, take me back to let's take the listeners back really, and the watchers, the viewers, to where it all first started for you, mate.
I mean, I've been obsessed with music since I was probably 10 years old, you know, like anybody dancing around the parents' front room, listening to the radio. And I suppose it wasn't until I was sort of 11, 12, I think, and I heard Shaka Khan, I Feel For You on the radio.
Right.
And it just sounded so different, so fresh. I was like, wow, what is this? And I went out and bought it, saved up my pocket money, and I bought the 7-inch single of it. And at the same time, there was a movie called Breaking, like a breakdance movie, and I started wearing the tracksuits, the shiny suits, and spinning on my back and pretending I was a bit of a breakdancer and a b-boy. But because there was a bit of a movement of that in Blackpool at the time, people in the Hounds Hill dancing on a bit of lino and that. It was really fun.
Yeah.
It was a great time for music as well. So I think that's where the obsession with music started.
What year was that? Was like the breakdance?
84. I'd say 83, 84, 85. And it was just, you know, that was the trigger for me with kind of electronic music, because I think Shaka Khan, I Feel For You, wasn't the first electronic dance tune, but it was really sort of electro-y, and, you know, you could body pop and lock to it, and a bit of a rap in it, and a bit of Stevie Wonder on harmonica. It was just, everything just gelled so well with that song, and it really triggered my love affair with electronic music, for sure.
Did you have like an influence when you was younger, like younger than that? I mean, going back to school, primary school, anything, or was your parents into music? Was you
my mum and my grandparents, certainly my grandma, my mum, they were into like country and western,
right?
Like Tammy Wynette and Connie Francis and things like that. And they'd sit and get drunk and sing songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was always music,
Yeah.
but it was always whiskey and beer that flowed while they sang. So I think the music side of it, you know, and I'd get up and sing and tell a few jokes for them and entertain them.
Right, okay.
I think obviously one of the main things of moving on to the DJ career is I was also a drummer in the school band.
Right.
So learning how to keep time and get on the drums, and that was a big help when I came to get on the decks for the first time.
Right. Did you do any performances or anything like that when you were younger?
Just at school, nothing major. I think the Rocky Horror Picture Show we did at school, and I dressed up, and then I ended up on the drums and that. You know, it was an interesting time, my school, because I went to that many schools. It was very up down. You know, we moved about a lot when I was younger, so it was difficult to get settled anywhere. You know, and I was like always the last one in at the year, so making new friends was always difficult. But the people I gravitated towards were musicians.
Yeah.
Another drummer in the band was a pal of mine, so always music.
Where are you from originally?
I was born in Glasgow.
Right, okay.
All my family are from Glasgow. I was born in Paisley.
Paisley?
Yeah.
Wow.
I often joke to people that, you know, Gerard Butler was born in the same hospital as me, and I don't know who my dad is.
Paolo Nutini as well?
So we could be, Paolo, all the very famous fish and chip shops around Glasgow, them lot.
So you don't what, Gerard Butler's your dad?
Well, no. you know, I always joke, because people used to say I look a little bit like Gerard Butler when I was younger.
Right.
And I'd say, well, you know, we were born in the same hospital, and I don't know who my dad is, so we could be brothers.
What you're like.
We can hope.
Oh, what you're like. That's funny, yeah. So when did you move to Blackpool then? How old was you when you moved down here?
Grew up in Renfrew for the first sort of 3 years of my life, and my mum met a guy, and he dragged her to Hartlepool for a couple of years, because that's where his brother was, and then all the rest of the family came down to Blackpool.
Right.
And my mum eventually brought me over there, and I came to Blackpool when I must have been 5 or 6 years old, so I was really young. I was born in 73, so, you know, coming to Blackpool in 77, 78, it was like Disneyland.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was. Yeah. I loved it. And in them days, I mean, I'd never do this now. Yeah, nobody would do this for the kids now. I was like 5, 6, 7 years old and being set loose.
Yeah.
Like, just go and have fun at the arcades or whatever. That young.
Yeah, that's what it used to be like, though,
I've
isn't
got
it?
2 kids now, and I'd be like, my son's 12 now. I won't let him out of the house. It's mad, isn't it? It's just that it was a different era. It was a lot more freedom, long before internet and phones and things like that. So you had to fill your days with either playing football all day like I used to do, or riding your bike, or, the good old days of Blackpool, you could run around the pleasure beach and jump on rides and just have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
So Blackpool was amazing when I was a kid.
Yeah, I remember them days, mate, to be fair. Going out playing Kirby. And we used to be on the streets, didn't we? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Years, before the internet.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's mad how you can, we speak to kids nowadays and it's like, I remember what life was like before the internet.
Yeah.
It makes you
before
sound a bit
mobile
old.
phones, before internet, before social media, any of that. If you had a problem with someone, you'd have to go and knock on the door.
Yeah.
Instead of bitching to them on social media, do you know what I mean?
Or ring your girlfriend from the phone box down the road.
Literally, literally.
It was crazy. So yeah, I mean, so you was a drummer in school and stuff, yeah. So that's where your timing, and it's helped obviously as a DJ. I mean, when did you first see DJing in a hole? Like when did that catch your eye, or your ear, should I speak?
So I think the trigger for wanting to be a DJ was there used to be a big nightclub in the town called the Palace, and when I was 16, 17. They used to have a Tuesday night, and it was an under-18s night. And a lot of people my age used to go to that. And they had some big names as well. They had like Kylie Minogue and Jason Donovan. It's called the Hitman Roadshow. And I used to go in there, and I got the first look. When you look in, I was like, look at this, man, lasers and light rigs that moved up and down and opened up. And it was just like, wow. Didn't know this world existed, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And seeing then how the DJ took control and got everybody singing and got everybody putting their hands in the air, it was mesmerising for me. I was like, wow. There's a couple of DJs. Sadly, one of them's passed away now. He was called, it'll come to me, my name's escaped my brain, but it was like Steve Sale, Mark Simpson, that's his name. And they were the DJs, and they weren't really mixing DJs, but they had another guy who was a mixing DJ, but for reasons of security, I'd rather not mention his name because he's a bit of a naughty boy.
Right.
It's another story for another day, that other DJ. But he was a good mixer. And I was like watching him and with the drumming thing, keeping time. I go, all right, yeah, he's doing this, he's doing that.
So that was your biggest influence then, to see.
Yeah.
Who was it, Jason?
It's a guy called Darren Lee. It was his DJ name.
Right.
He's called Darren Penfold.
Right.
And just Google Darren Penfold Blackpool and you'll see what I mean. It's not a great story. He's a bit of a ruffian.
But a good DJ.
He was in his day. I'll give him his due in his day. But, it's like, when we talk about famous DJs who've been thrown under the cosh, like Eric Murillo, for whatever reason, sexual offences, that's what we're talking about. So that's for another day. That's another story.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, no problem at all. So from the Palace, so how old was you when you was going in there then at the Palace?
16.
16, yeah. So when did you first get your pair of decks, or was you?
So I fell into it accidentally, having been to that, and then I left school quite early, and then went to work at Burton's Biscuits.
Right, yeah.
On up in Blackpool, because all my family worked there at one point or another.
Vicarage Lane,
yeah, Vicarage Lane that way, just off there, and so that was my first job, and I was earning money, and I started collecting more records because every now and then I'd buy a decent record if I liked it. I think the catalyst for being a dance DJ was Steve Silk Hurley, Jack Your Body. When that came on the radio, 1988, oh my days. Yeah. That was just radically different to anything you heard. I was into soft rock and Bon Jovi and Aerosmith and Def Leppard and In Excess and things like that.
Yeah.
And then hearing the first dance tune being played on a radio was mind-blowing. So one of the guys at Burton's Biscuits, I wouldn't say he was a loner, he's a nice guy. He was at one of my gigs on Saturday, actually. It's called Dave Fallows, and he says, I've got some decks at home if you want to bring your records round. It's like, all right, yeah, I'd love to, yeah, let me see. And it was a bit of a crude setup, just like an old mixer. One deck was one make, it was no Technics, it was something else, And he explained it so easily. He said, right, this record that's playing on here, and he put it on, that's on the speakers, that's what you're hearing. And he went, this record here, you have to listen to it in your headphones. And he said, you have to get the timing right. And I was thinking, drumming, timing, yeah, okay, I get that. And you have to use the speed control up and down, and you have to match it so that it matches that, because it's either going to be faster or slower. And the way he explained it was just like, all right, okay, that's dead easy.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, the first time I ever mixed a record, I mixed it in time.
Really?
He was like sat there, like looking at me like I was a freak. And he was like, "You've done this before?" And I went, "I've never done it before in my life." And I think he got a bit upset that I'd done it like that, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like anything. Some kids can ride a bike like that. Some kids takes ages to ride a bike.
Of course, yeah.
I just took like a duck to water.
Yeah.
So I started mixing. It's like, oh, wow, I love this. And it was early dance music. You know, we're talking 88, 89, 90. And he was like, "You should be a DJ.
Yeah.
If you could do it like that," he said, "you should be a DJ." Didn't happen quite so fast.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, the basis of knowing how to mix a record, not like today with controllers and CDJs, you can beat match, you can see the numbers and You had to mix by your ear in the old days. It was just on a set of decks. So we always joke saying, put a set of decks in front of like DJs and see how they act.
Yeah,
you know,
madness.
because it is an art form.
Of course
There's
it is.
no question about it. People, I think the word DJ's become a bit of a lame term at the moment because social media again has portrayed a lot of male and female DJs to be like just fronts and dancing about and and it's a bit of an act.
Yeah, it's all visual.
It's all visual. It's all social media content. It's all like, look at me, I'm swirling my arms about and doing the little limp wrist waves.
Yeah.
You know, it's all got its place in society, but if you can't get the basics right, mix, if you have to use auto mix or, you know, sync, I don't have a problem with sync when people say, you know, bashing the sync button. No. Sync is just speeding up the process. That's all it is.
That's what I see. I see it as, so when I use the sync button, but I don't keep it on. So what I do, I just do it to cue my BPMs and then turn it straight back off. It's just speed, rather than just having to have a look at what speed each is playing at, or obviously the track that they're bringing in. Having to look at that, then having to look back, then having to move your pitch control. It's just bang, it turn it on, turn it off. It's just you're just there straight away. It's not keeping you in a mix, but I think when you press the sync button and you keep it in as well, it kind of, the waveforms.
It can wave a little bit.
It does,
depending on how, what you're playing. Some tracks are not absolutely on the nail. I think some producers like having a bit of fun nowadays and making the BPM range wave a little bit, just to keep DJs on their toes, literally.
Right. No, yeah. So I don't mind, like you said it yourself. I don't mind using the sync button, but only for that purpose, really. But yeah, go on. You were saying, sorry.
Yeah. So learning the fundamentals of how to mix a record, and then you should be a DJ stuck in my head. I was like, okay. So at the weekends when I'd be going, we were now going to the grown-up palace, even though I was underage.
Right.
I befriended a few of the doormen. Used to buy the doorman a pint, they'd let you in. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Back in the day, yeah.
Good old days. And I played football with quite a few doormen, so it was always like, there was a mate of mine, Big Steve, on the door at the palace. And he'd be like, "You're right, Jay. Yeah, you're right." And know he was a good footballer, so he'd be like, "Yeah, I know you're underage, but go on.
Yeah.
Just keep your head down.
Yeah.
It is what it is." So, and then befriending a lot of the DJs was my greatest skill of getting anywhere, because I get people coming up to me now going, "How do I get into this? Who do I speak to?" You just got to speak to everyone. DJs, doormen, owners, managers, bar staff.
Yeah.
It's not any one person to get a gig these days. It's a lot harder these days.
Yeah.
It really is, because everybody wants to be a DJ.
Yeah, of course. And everybody's it's so wide. Yeah, it's so widespread. Where years ago it was kind of a niche,
Well, you had to invest in being a DJ years ago. You had to. I know, you have to invest in equipment nowadays, but in them days you had to buy every single piece of music.
Yeah.
You imagine kids of today having to buy every piece of music they've got on their phones.
Yeah.
Spotify and iTunes, Apple Music, and the like. If you had to buy every single piece of music, you'd be skinned.
Of course.
I was skinned constantly.
Yeah.
Because I was buying everything. I think I was earning 180 quid a week as a biscuit packer at Burton's, and I probably spent 120 quid a week on vinyl.
Did you?
Give me mum 40 quid of rent. That's another thing that kids don't do these days, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pay rent. I used to get room and board, she called it.
Yeah.
Should I'm feeding you, I'm this, that and the other. And
housekeeping.
Blah, blah, blah. Housekeeping, doing your laundry. So befriending the DJs, eventually I would say, oh yeah, I'm a DJ, and I've got some headphones and I've got my records, and I probably had a couple of 100 records by that point, so 2 boxes.
Really, yeah.
And it was all sort of late 80s, early 90s dance music. And I remember one night, in particular, and this was, I think it was Easter 1991, and one of the DJs, Steve Sale, came up to me and he says, you're a DJ, aren't you? Yeah. Right, nip outside, downstairs. There's a guy called Albie. He owns the Love Shack downstairs. He needs a DJ. His DJ's not turned up. I was like, right, okay. Legged it downstairs. Knocked on the door. You're all right. And he's sitting there skinny. How old was I in 91? 17, 18. Yeah, I was actually 17. And he looked at me and he's like, you're not a DJ. Look at the size of you. I was 6 foot tall by the time I was 17. But I was skinny as a 8, probably still a bit spotty from school. And I said, no, honestly, if you're desperate, and he was desperate. Yeah. So he paid for my taxi home, got my records, got my headphones. And my headphones were Sony Walkman headphones, but with a big jack input in it.
Right,
so I went in there, and I'd heard about the Love Shack as being a bit seedy and a bit dark and a bit dirty. I walked in, I was like, oh, this is actually quite a decent club. Yeah. DJ box facing the wall, though, so that's the old school. The DJ used to play a record, turn around and speak, and hi, everybody, welcome.
Right, okay.
But it had a big mirror, so you could DJ, see the crowd in the mirror, but they're looking at your back. It was weird. It was a weird setup.
So the Love Shack, was that was Boom Boom Room, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and DNA. And
yeah, DNA turned into, I think that's when it closed down after DNA.
Yeah. Great little underground club. I mean, I wish clubs like that were still around these days, because now that it's more current with what's gone on in the world of music. People want dirty, dark underground spaces now.
There's a lot of it in Manchester and places like that in there.
Certainly not in Blackpool. I mean, Blackpool at that time had more clubs than anywhere else. Literally every corner had a club. Where the Palace was, there was like 4 clubs underneath it.
Jellies, Boom Boom Room. There was Jellies.
There was Lineker's, which was, I think it was called Sands and Spats, and there was all sorts of weird names.
Yeah.
But there was literally 4 nightclubs underneath the Palace. That's how popular it was back in the day.
Yeah.
Central Pier had Oz, and then you had Sequins across the road, and you had the old Schofields just there, the old 007.
Yeah.
There was loads of clubs around Blackpool.
It was good for the early 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was. Do you know what? As a 17-year-old coming on to being 18, it was like Wonderland. It really was. There was loads of places to go. So when the dance music movement started, sort of 88, 89, all these discotheques that were starting to fade away started to be rave clubs all of a sudden.
Yeah.
The Love Shack was a party club.
Right.
The Love Shack is a little old place. I think that's why they named it that.
Yeah.
It was a party club. As soon as the rave movement took over, wow, Blackpool was booming.
Yeah, I bet it was.
And that first night I actually recorded it as well, but unfortunately, because I didn't know about acoustics and about levels, I thought I'll turn the record right up, and it was just all. You can tell it's me. You can hear my voice every now and then on the mic. But the excitement I got of doing my first ever gig in a nightclub, playing tunes like The Prodigy, Charlie, and Your Love, Outer Space, and SL2 on a Ragged Tip. Oh, the biggest, and I played it 3 times in one night, was Oceanic, Insanity.
How's that one go?
Massive. Take me into insanity.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Dream tripping. Like people used to call me, got dream tripping, got dream tripping.
Yeah.
Like dream tripping. I go, of course, that's that song. And I play it, the place went off, man. Because it was raw then. You think about people are like, say, 90s music's getting rinsed and repeated, and which it is at the minute. But actually being there at that time, I can only compare it to imagine what it was like when the disco era kicked off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Clubs like with mirror balls and discos and
And you was part of that movement.
Yeah, being there right at the beginning. I mean, obviously it was going on from 88, but I was going out in clubs from 88, 89 when I was 16, 17.
Yeah.
And then hearing it and seeing what happened and seeing the difference in what people were wearing as well, because we were coming out the back end of a recession in the late 80s. All the coal mining strikes and Maggie Thatcher and all that, you know, and then people just wanted a release. They were sick of it. There was a lot of poverty. There was a lot of unemployment. You had to work crappy jobs to get any kind of, there was a lot of labouring jobs, like me working at a biscuit factory. Yeah. You know what I mean? I flipped burgers at McDonald's for a couple of weeks once. I glass collected in the Fleece, a pub, which is now Brannigan's or something. I was just a grafter. I mean, from the age of 12, 13, I had jobs. I was working in Lytham Road on sports shops and I worked on the bus station helping people with the bags, being a bag boy.
Yeah.
Did all sorts of mad stuff when I was young because I just to get away from home.
Really?
Home life was crap for me. I didn't like it at all. It's just there's a lot of drinking going on. There's a lot of our big Scottish mentality of back then in the days. It was smoking, drinking, fighting.
Yeah.
Really, being that blunt, it was.
It's not really changed much.
No, well, it's not as bad as it used to be, that's for sure.
No, but yeah, it's so you wanted to just get out of the house and just release.
Music was the release for me. Being in nightclubs, it gave me that passion to follow the musical route. The sad thing is that I went to a boarding school in the Lake District, and I'd come home. This was just before I started the job at Burton's Biscuits, and I got off the train at Lancaster, and I had like 45 minutes to kill. And I walked into the Army Navy recruitment office. And just for a laugh, I thought, I'll sign up for the Navy. Yeah. Signed up for the Navy. After my first gig at the Love Shack, literally a week later, call-up papers.
Really?
To go in the Royal Navy. And I was like, oh, mate. Because I knew I wanted to be a DJ. I was like, oh, no. I want to be a DJ. I'm not going in the Navy. It was my parents, my mum and my stepdad were like, oh, nobody from our family's ever done anything like that before. You could go make a name for yourself and da-da-da. It's a great career. Yeah. You're serving your country, and they just wanted me away, to be honest. I'm not joking. They were just like, get out of the house, So that was Easter when I did my first gig. Yeah. April, so literally a month later, I joined the Navy.
Really?
Yeah.
So how long was you in there for?
2 years.
Was you?
Here's the twist. I took my records with me.
Right.
So I thought, you know what? I'm not leaving them at home.
Something I'd do that.
So most lads turned up with a kit bag, clothes. I turned up with a kit bag and 2 boxes of records. So when I arrived at the train station, and there's a chief petty officer there to pick you up. He's like looking at me going, what's in them? And I was like, it's records. You brought them for? Because I'm a DJ.
It's your pride and joy. It's what you spent all your money on.
No, but when I said to because I'm a DJ, he went, you're not a DJ now, son. Get on that bus. Like, shouting at me, oh, okay. So they stayed stored for the first part of training. When I passed out, first part of training, went to my shore base, was in Portsmouth. Yeah. And I met a guy, again, music-driven, went into the NAFI bar, which is the Navy Army Air Force Institute. They all have a pub and a club on site, weirdly enough, all the shore bases. I see this guy setting up a big disco, and I said, oh, hey, mate, I'm a DJ. And do you want any hand? And he was like, yeah, give me a hand, give me all the heaviest stuff to carry. Yeah. Ends up, it's called Pat Connolly. He was serving in the Navy as well, but he was a DJ. And I was like, oh, so you're in the Navy, but you're still DJ? And he went, yeah. I was like, oh, wow. Again, that's amazing.
It. Yeah.
So I helped him. He said, come down tonight, 8 o'clock, and we'll do the gig together. He'd never seen anybody mixing on the twin Citronic, the old double deck mobile, all one thing. But it's got speed control. It's got, it's and 12-inch records. He's used to seeing things this big.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? 7 inches.
Yeah.
And he's like watching me going, oh my God, you're amazing.
Yeah.
And again, it was stuff like CC Peniston finally and Robin S. Show Me Love. No, actually, it's before that. But it was like early dance music. Again, all Steve Silk Hurley influenced, and Frankie Knuckles and David Morales remixes. And he was gobsmacked. He's like, oh my God, you should be a DJ. And I'm like, well, I am a DJ. Yeah, but you're in the mob. The Navy, they call it the mob.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, well, you're doing it in the Navy. Why can't I?
Yeah.
And do you know what? He said, yeah, do it. So I started DJing in clubs around Portsmouth.
Really?
And yeah, it was mad. Joined HMS Art Royal, big aircraft carrier, straight to Florida.
Right.
I'd never been abroad in my life before.
Really?
I'm 18 years old, and here I am in bloody Florida.
Wow.
In Fort Lauderdale. And I got off the ship, went straight down to the promenade, saw a nightclub, went in, knocked on the door.
Yeah.
It was in the daytime, it was closed. I'll never forget it was called the Candy Store. And I says, I'm off the ship, HMS Art Royal, but I'm also a DJ. And if you maybe let me play here tonight, I'll go back to the ship and put it over the tannoy. That British DJ. I wasn't called Fubar at that point.
What's your name?
Oh, I'll tell you in a minute. So I said, British DJ. I said, I'll get all the lads down here tonight. You'd be absolutely rammed. He said, yeah, all right, go for it, yeah. So I went back. I said, yeah, the ship's company are invited to the Candy Store on the seafront, Las Olas Boulevard. Fort Lauderdale, British DJ, Iron. IRON.
Right.
And that's because of my surname, Bar. Jason Bar, and it was Bar's Iron Brew.
Right.
So it's DJ Iron.
DJ Iron.
Oh, it was awful. I know. I don't imagine if I was called that now. Mind you, people raise their eyebrows at Fubar. And Fubar came from the Navy.
Yeah. It's that lingo, isn't it? Yeah.
It's. Are we allowed to swear on this podcast? Of
course we are. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So it's fucked up beyond all recognition.
Yeah.
Is the analogy of it, and it's an old American military term, and it was fouled up beyond all repair. But they were like fouled up, fucked up.
It's when when
something goes wrong. When anything goes wrong, it's at Fubar. And because I was a bit of a Jack the Lad and one of the lads in the mess, and we were in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, we were watching Tango and Cash,
right.
a film with Kurt Russell and I forget who else is it. Is it Mel Gibson? One of them Gibson, lot. I think. Yeah. It's one of them lot. Oh, Sylvester Stallone. Anyway, and he keeps going, oh, it's all gone Fubar, it's all gone Fubar. And then at the end of the film, he goes, why do you keep saying this Fubar? What does Fubar mean? He goes, fucked up beyond all recognition.
Yeah.
And one of the lads went, Fubar, bar. Yeah, that's you.
Right.
So, and it stuck, and then DJ Fubar.
There you go.
So there you go.
That's the original.
That's where it came from.
So yeah, go on, tell me about this the Candy Shack. Is it the Candy Shack?
Candy store,
Candy store, yeah.
So yeah, it was just, I found a record shop in Fort Lauderdale and I was buying some 12 inches. I bought Ginny Keep Warm there, big Italian tune. I couldn't believe they had piano tunes over there. And Salt and Pepper Push It was big still, and and it was all the sort of the merging of bebop and breaking and hip hop with the new sound coming in from Italy and Europe. And Italian house music, I couldn't believe we could find that in America.
Which was like the first old school, wasn't it, really? Like the breakbeat stuff. That's how it broke into it that way, didn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
It was all like the underground kind of... Yeah, it was definitely the underground broke through that way.
So I did a bit of crate digging in a shop in Fort Lauderdale, and I thought and plus of what I had already, and I knew what the British liked. And I got in there, it's full of girls. Like, oh my God, this club's amazing. And again, it was like a couple of Technics, and a mixer was on everything was on a hanging spring thing, so the decks are all over the place, but they didn't jump.
Right.
And again, learning that kind of thing as well. Oh yeah, because decks can jump when people go like that next to someone.
Yeah, of course.
Off it goes.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and it was absolutely rammed. And I was there for 12 nights. And I said to the guy, "So you want me to do any more nights?" And he's like, "Yeah, definitely." And he paid me I think he paid me $200 or something. Back $200. Jesus Christ! Oh my God!
So how long were you based there then in Florida?
Only for 2 weeks.
Oh, only for a couple of weeks.
So we were on. It was a American deployment, and we came straight back.
Right.
But I was in the Navy for 2 years. And I ended up getting discharged because I knew I wanted to be a DJ. So I kept getting in trouble.
Yeah.
And I thought, if I keep getting in trouble, they'll just throw me out.
Yeah.
It worked. Right. They threw me out. SNLR, which is services no longer required. Really? So it's not a dishonourable discharge. It's just like your services are no longer required.
Yeah. So it's like, just get out, mate. We've had enough of you.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. And they knew. My divisional officer knew. He was like, "You want to be a DJ, don't you?" I went, "Yeah." He said, "You're a good DJ, And I did some tapes. Because my last deployment, I went on HMS Amazon, went to the Falkland Islands and back. Yeah. On a decommissioning tour. And I did some mixes before I left, recorded it all onto tape. Did some dance mixes, did some party mixes, did just things that I knew that the lads would like in the mess deck.
Yeah.
Mate, them tapes were like gold. Yeah. The lads were like, get your tapes out.
Oh,
you know. Let's have a party. And we'd have a party in the mess deck. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. I was in the Falkland Islands, and we just got the tapes out. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Any horror stories from that time, like in the Navy?
In the Navy,
yeah,
hardest job I've ever done in my life.
Yeah,
no bar none. Being Christmas Eve, Christmas Day in South Georgia, which is the most southerly piece of land before the South Pole, and it's owned by the British Empire. It's a British territory, but 40-foot waves. On this little Type 21 frigate, little warship. When I say little, Ark Royal was like a cruise ship compared to this. And I feared for my life. I really did. I was like, dude, if this ship goes down, we're all dead. Yeah. Doesn't matter how many lifeboats are on here. We're in the middle of the South Atlantic. Thankfully, it was in their summertime, so it wasn't as cold as it normally is, but it's still bloody freezing.
Yeah.
Nearly getting thrown off the side while we were doing a replenishment with another ship alongside, do the ropes, and they send fuel over and this, that, and the other. I got caught in a rope, Nearly got dragged out to sea. So it's, it's a dangerous job at the end of the day.
Yeah, of course.
Going to the Falkland Islands in peacetime, we were supposed to go to Buenos Aires on a peacetime diplomatic mission. This is 10 years after the Falklands War. So the Falklands War, 1982, I was there in 1992.
Right.
So you imagine 10 years is still quite raw in the Argentinian mind,
Yeah, of course.
And we were pulling into the bay of Buenos Aires, and the captain spotted on the shore people burning Union Jacks and that. He just, we're off.
See you later.
Which was a shame because it would have been nice. But again, he's got to think of the safety of the crew and the ship. All it takes is some nutter to throw a missile at us, isn't it?
But that was a bit haunting. Yeah.
A bit scary, but no, nothing that I didn't take in my stride other than, scrubbing floors and doing crappy jobs for 2 years. Was I was a sprog. I was a kid. And I finished my task books. You get task books so you can go through the ranks. Yeah. Starts at seaman, able seaman, leading seaman, petty officer, chief petty officer. You work your way up the ranks. And I did my books in record time. So I did them on the Art Royal.
Right.
Thought, while I'm here for 6 months, I'll do my books.
Yeah.
And then they wouldn't advance me. So they said, no, seaman, stay down there, And that really pissed me off. I was like, come on, I've done my books.
Why was that?
Just because of my age.
Because your age, yeah.
And I was like...
Experience, basically, yeah.
Well, it's like, don't you want somebody to be I could be the quickest advanced officer in the Navy history.
Stay there.
Man.
Yeah.
Stay in your lane.
Yeah. Calm down, son.
Well, I just wanted more money, that's all it was. Because we were on pittance. I was on £500 a month.
Right.
But all your food and your accommodations all paid for. So, but it's not a lot of money.
Yeah, I bet it's a good laugh though. I went into go into the RAF when I was late 20s. But I've got music notes tattooed on my neck, whichever side they're on. I don't even know which side they're on now. And I've got them tattooed on my neck, and they wouldn't let me in because it was above the collar.
Mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy. But then
very strict back then.
As soon as you passed out though, you could get tattoos. So it was like, how does that work?
Yeah, it's weird.
And
I weird really little rules and laws that they have with the military.
Yeah, it's crazy. But brilliant story anyway. So what about, so you've finished in the Navy, you've come out, what did you do then? So you're back in Blackpool.
Came out of the Navy, hunted an old girlfriend from when I first joined. Yeah. She was working at Gates's on the promenade behind the bar. So I went in and, hiya, you're right. Oh, you're back, And I said, are you still in the Navy? I said, no, I've left. I'm going to be a DJ. She went, oh, we need a DJ downstairs in the club. Bang,
Straight
the look of
in
it.
Yeah.
And that was the other little nightclub underneath. So it was like literally the first few days I was back, I was DJing in this little club underneath.
Was that Time Gap underneath there? Did it turn into Time Gap?
No, it's just a bit further along Time Gap. So the club is actually still there.
Oh, Gates's is the actual
Gates's
club?
Where the karaoke bar is.
Yeah.
There's a club underneath it. It was a lap dancing bar for a little while, but it wasn't.
Time Gap, that one.
No, Time Gap's further down.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, just a little bit smaller.
Right.
So anyway, I went down there, and they were just like, they opened at 11 o'clock, shut at 2, and if anybody from the karaoke bar went down, and it was actually quite a busy little club. I was quite surprised, but it didn't last long for me because the people who owned Gaieties were just taking the piss out of me. I mean, the pay was rubbish. It was all hourly wages. I'd help out in the day on the karaoke as well, just to get some extra hours in. But when I got my pay packet, it was like, there's money missing out of that. It says, oh yeah, some of the lights that you left on too long, you broke them, had to replace them. You've got to pay for them. Yeah. What's that got to do with me? Yeah. It's your lights.
Too enthusiastic, Jason. That's what we are. And some people, we're too enthusiastic. We tell people we love our job too much, and they just take the piss sometimes.
No, there's that. Yeah, and we'll come on to another story about that, loving your job too much and people taking the piss.
Can't wait for that one.
Funnily, the guy who came to fix the lights, Stage Box, was a company on Central Drive.
Yeah, Central Drive. Yeah.
There's an old guy called Steve. He sadly passed away now. Lovely guy, Steve. And I was down there, and I'm just doing a little mix in the day. And he says, you're the DJ? I went, yeah. He says, do you like it here? I went, no, not at all. And he went, oh, okay. He says, well, actually, my missus is singing in Corfu in a little resort called Maratska, and they need a DJ. And so the look of that and to that, so he says, I can ring him if you want. I'll have to wait till tonight. I'll ring him on the landline.
Yeah.
Anyway, he came in the next day, and he says, right. He says, yeah. He says, what? He said, fly out.
Really?
I was like, fly out? What? just fly out to Corfu. Well, where am I going?
Yeah.
And he gave me the address, and he said, yeah, just turn up there.
Really?
So that you think about the risk
of course.
of just going to a foreign country that I'd never been to before with a couple of boxes of records and a little rucksack with clothes and my toothbrush. And I think about it now and I go, God, I was so cavalier, wasn't I? But anything to stay in Blackpool. At the time, I didn't want to stay in Blackpool because I didn't want to stay with my mum and my stepdad. You know, I felt like a bit of a stranger there in the end when I got back from the Navy because they were really pissed off that I'd left the Navy. You know, they were like, that's a career. And they actually took me to see a DJ. He was at the, what's that Gurkha place called? It was called the Alpine Hotel.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a guy who was DJing, and they brought me in front of this guy, and I think they've obviously worded him up, and he's like, no, it's tough being a DJ, the money's not that good, and they were like trying to put me off it.
Yeah.
I was like, that made me want to do it even more, because I knew I was good at it, you know what I mean?
You had the whole Navy, you had your whole ship telling you.
No, that's it. So I packed my stuff, I didn't give me notice, I just left, because they were being arseholes with me.
Yeah.
You know, taking money off me if that breaks, you're going to charge me. Yeah. You know, if I touch it, there you go. Right. If it breaks, it's not my fault. But that's what they were doing. They were charging me, and I was just like, you arseholes. Yeah. No need for that.
No,
it's penny pinching.
Of course it is, yeah.
So, turned up in Corfu,
yeah.
Got to the airport, got in a taxi, the Captain Morgan bar in Maratica.
Right.
Like, Captain Morgan. Me obsessed with rum, and it's called Captain Morgan as well.
Sounds a bit rum, that bar, yeah.
Turns up, and weirdly, and a guy opens the door, and it's a Scouse lad called Jimmy. All right there, our kid, come on, are you Jason? Yeah, let me get your records out. Yeah, I did it. Yeah. Took me records in. He said, right, you're staying up behind this other place, like accommodation included as well. I was like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah. Proper. I mean, if you look at it now, you won't let your dog sleep in it. You know what I mean? It was a proper shithole. Anyway, we gets into the bar, and it's a little bar, you know, it's tiny. It's like maybe 100 capacity, if that. And I met Spiros, the owner, and he's like, yeah, you're a good DJ, yeah. He said, right, come on, let's have a drink, and you could do a little bit later on when it dies off a little bit, and let's see how you are. Because I didn't have the job at that time, it was just to see. Yeah. Anyway, so the Greeks are just as tight as anybody else. They're like, what do you want to drink? Oh, I'll have a bottle of Woodpecker. No. It's import, costs too much. Choose something else. You drink beer, and I don't drink beer, I've never drunk beer in my life. All right, I'll have this, I'll have that. Right. Anyway, Malibu and Coke. And it wasn't real Malibu. Yeah. They're Schneid, copy. But anyway, so I had a few drinks.
All-inclusive style. Like.
Get on the decks, got me records, And what was 93? I think it was Slave to the Vibe. And even the lads didn't have it. So I went record shopping before I flew out, and I got all the latest little bits, and I'm Slave to the Vibe, you know, really good tune at the time. And the crowd were going, loving it, and people walking in going, oh, I love this song, And you could see the other DJs going, God, he's got some good tunes, hasn't he? Yeah. You know, Ray's Break for Love and things like that. And they were all like, wow, these are top tunes, man. Yeah. And Robin S. Show Me Love, 1993, the original Robin S. And it sounded so fresh and so raw. When I got on the mic, my mic pattern was probably a little bit, he tried, you know, he said, oh, your microphone not so good, but your music very good. Yeah. Right, you got the job. 5,000 drachmas a night. I was thinking, 5,000 drachmas, how much is that?
Yeah, how much is that?
25 quid, 30 quid.
5,000 drachmas, 5,000 drachmas.
Well, I mean, if you have a look at it, you know, that's 150 quid a week, playing 7 nights a week, accommodation included, drinks included. All the food was cheap as chips, you know. So I didn't care at the time. I was away. Yeah. I was working abroad. I was living the dream.
Why not?
Didn't give
How old was you then? 20, was you?
18.
18?
Yeah.
Oh, straight.
93. No, sorry, I was 19. Yeah. 19, and then my 20th birthday was in August that year, 93, and the whole thing of working in Greece was the Greeks are really confrontational kind of people. You know, if anything they don't like, you swim with the fishes. You know, they suddenly turn into gangsters. Yeah. Well, they're not fighters. They're all talk and no trousers. Half of them lot. Halfway through the season. There was a young British girl who had a bar called the Red Lion, and she was struggling, and she was going to lose it. And so I said, well, all collectively, the workers, why don't we do a bit of a fundraiser for her? You know, and I'll come and DJ and da-da-da. Yeah. The bar owners hated it because we got it rammed. We absolutely spanked it out. And she got enough money that night to be able to pay off her debt and fly home. Really? So she was buzzing, you know. But the bar owners, like come to me like I was the ringleader.
Right, yeah.
threatened to throw me in the sea.
Which you probably were, but
a little bit, but it was more to help this girl
help her,
out, get her home, you know what I mean?
They don't like it.
Anyway, so I left. I went, right, sod you, I'm not working here anymore.
Yeah.
And I went and worked at another club in Benitz's and another club down the road.
So you stayed over
for a
there
little while, yeah. But I was getting threats and stuff, and it was the first time in my life I'd ever come across owners that were really aggressive, and I was like, oh, I'm just helped a woman out here, and then you've took it the wrong way, and because they're just all about themselves. If you're not making money for them, then you're not making money for anyone.
Yeah, of course.
They want you off the island.
Really?
Yeah, it's that blunt.
Really?
That really to the bone of. And sending people in to intimidate me and all that. It's like, oh, leave it out.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fighter. I always say I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah, I am, yeah.
But to get away for the first summer season after leaving the Navy gave me so much confidence. Bearing in mind, I'd only been DJing. First gig I ever did was in 91. And I hadn't been a full-time DJ since then. So when I left the Navy, from that point, I've been a full-time DJ since 93 till now.
Really?
I never stopped. Apart from COVID, obviously.
So you've never done any other jobs? Never took anything?
No.
Straight
Apart from COVID.
And how old are you now, Jason? Don't mind me asking.
I'm 52 now.
52?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, them early years were, finding your feet, finding your voice, finding your rhythm as to what you want to play. And for me, it was always house music. Yeah. I love the early rave stuff as well. So I was really heavily into that. The when we talk about the rave, the Moving Shadow label and early Prodigy and
the happy. What about the happy hardcore?
Well, never into that. Never got into the happy hardcore. I never liked the fast stuff because I just thought it was a bit too. I know you were heavily into it, and there's a lot of people who love the bounce stuff. Yeah. I only ever dipped my toe in it every now and then when I felt like I needed something just to. Like, we'll come on to the Syndicate, but like the Syndicate Thursday nights were all about the bouncy, happy, not happy hardcore, but real sort of 140, 150 BPM stuff.
Yeah.
Sort of fast-edged, Clublandy music, I call
Loved it. Thursday nights were the ones in there for me.
Mate, bonkers.
Wasn't it?
Bonkers.
But, so coming from Corfu, so what happened from Corfu then? You came back to Blackpool then, did you?
So I came home, came back to Blackpool. My mates were sending me postcards. Right. Saying, there's this new club open. It's called the Business Pub-orama. Right. And I was like, Pub-orama? Sounds dog shit. Like, went in, and to be fair, it wasn't a bad place. It was not a big catwalk down the middle, big stage at the end and all that. And this was when I first met the Nordwind family.
Right.
So they owned it. And Sandra, in particular, look, she was like, we need fresh talent. We need good DJs that know the music now, because when I walked in, there were no disrespect, because those DJs are friends of mine now, but the music they were playing was really dated.
Yeah.
Saturday night at the movies. They go, Saturday night at the business. Like, it was so cheesy.
Yeah.
And there was
Blackpool specials, like.
Well, if you imagine then, so 93, the rave scene's been going for 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's strong in Blackpool. It's still, Heaven and Hell, before that was called Madison Avenue and Macy's, and that was a big. Macy's was a big dance venue. The Palace were doing the Juice raves, and doing all the big stuff. You had Love Shack, you had Sequence, you had Oz. So you still had this bubbling, thriving dance scene.
Zone as well.
Zone was in its infancy then, upstairs above Pop World now, which was Jenks.
Yeah.
And you had Shaboo raves in 91, 92, 93, and Sasha and Laurent Garnier and even the Village. I don't know if you remember the Village, which was what did it get called after? I forget what it's called. On Central Drive, they had Frankie Knuckles in there.
Where the Union was it? The Union on the corner?
Yeah, it could be the one where the King Eddie is.
Yeah, King Edward. That's it. Yeah, right on the
so there's a club next door to there. It was called the Village, and it was called something else. The name it'll come in my head at a random moment. But they were having top DJs, and then. The Business, I had a Tuesday night with Magoo. Do you know Magoo?
No.
No, he's in prison at the moment. But anyway, he was a character in the day. Magoo threw a party on a Tuesday night. Like, who does a party on a Tuesday? Put Graham Park on, 800 people.
Yeah.
Hacienda night. Wow, rammed. And that gave the Nordwinds, I think, a little bit of a click.
Yeah.
Because they had a couple, they dipped their toe as well. They had TTF from Scotland.
Yeah.
Which is as near to happy hardcore as you can get.
Of course, yeah.
Before it starts going a bit bonkers. And I think they realised that they need fresh blood. They need somebody young. So they did all the cheesy stuff early doors. They said, can you do from 12 till 2? Yeah, of course, yeah. So I did from 12 to 2. And at the time, it was the sort of new, like a little bit like Zone, but not as hardcore. And it was all like Culture Beat and Mr. Vane and things like that.
Yeah.
And Urban Cookie Collective, The Key, The Secret, all them kind of tunes.
So it's still dancey, but
sharp. It was bangy, but still commercial, but banging.
Yeah.
Because I knew if I went on and started playing real banging dance tunes, it'd empty the gap because they wouldn't know it. I had to play something they knew.
Yeah, of course.
And sort of ease them in gently.
Yeah.
That didn't end well because
go on.
As much as they own great clubs, they didn't know about the music, and they were like, and I think they'd probably openly admit that, they should have just let me get on with it then.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we parted company after a few months, and I went down to Essex to a girl that I'd met in Corfu. Stayed with her for the winter. That didn't really work out. Did some cracking clubs in Essex, in Southend, like Tots and Adlib, and there was one on the pier that I did, like a proper rave night. Oh my God, it was the best gig I'd ever done down that way. And then I just got the bug for going abroad, and I was going to go back to Corfu because they offered it to me. And one of my pals was a rep in Mallorca in '93, and he said, "Oh, you've got to go to Mallorca." All my mates had been to BCM in Magaluf and sent me postcards. Oh, this top DJ, Des Mitchell, this, that, and the other. You should go to Mallorca. Yeah. So I don't know anybody in Mallorca. So Simo, my mate, who was a rep for 20s over there, he says, "Oh, this guy Armenian, he's got Prince William Pub and he's got Heroes Disco. So I've told him all about you. He wants to see you." Right. So I flew out in February. Imagine a season in Mallorca's sort of May to October. Anyway, flew out. The place was actually quite busy. Yeah. It's like, oh my God, it's a crappy little pub. But then he showed me his club and he said, "But this opens in May." I was like, "Oh yeah, this is." Yeah. So anyway, flew back out in April and started working in Mallorca. Heroes had a Spanish DJ, couldn't speak a word on the mic, so they had to bring people in on the mic and all. I said, "You don't need to do that, I'll do that." Yeah. And so again, I started doing my bit and doing a bit of crazy mixing and playing tunes that they didn't have and they didn't know. Yeah. They were quite dated when I went to that place. Yeah. But like I talk about the first time I went in the Palace and seen the lights and the laser. Yeah. The first time I went in BCM, oh my God. It's the first super club I've ever seen. Yeah. The Palace was a great discotheque, but it was a discotheque. Yeah, of course. BCM, my days. Yeah. This was a monster. This was a cavern. Yeah. And I walked in there like on the opening night, like, oh shit, I want to work here. Yeah. Instantly, not like, oh, I hope one day I get to work here. No, I'm going to work here. She will be mine. Oh yes, yeah. I just had it in my head. So, and again, I went in and started talking to people there. Befriended Des Mitchell, who's a top DJ. Yeah. Brilliant DJ, Des. Very underrated. One of the best resident DJs I've ever met. And he was just seamless, and his voice and everything. Just the whole show, the lasers, the lights, everything. I was like, oh, man, I'd love to play here. And we played football together. I'm quite a good footballer in my day. Yeah. And me and Des used to play quite a lot. And he says, "Oh, how's it going at Heroes?" I said, "Yeah, it's all right." I said, "But there's this Spanish DJ. It's a bit like that, and he always wants to have the limelight and the glory, which is fine. It's his, because he treated it like it was his club. Yeah. And I'm an outsider, you know. And I was like, yeah, fair enough. So I had a chance to go to BCM and start downstairs, which used to be called the Party Zone Sector 2. Right. So I thought, you know what? There's a lot of dance music that they're not playing upstairs, because upstairs was cool as anything. Yeah. We're talking Carl Cox and, Fabio Grooverider back then, Jeremy Healy and, a young Judge Jules and people like that. And it was all top DJs, international talent. Yeah. So downstairs was like the cheesy alternative, the getaway from the upstairs. But at the time, it was like Corona, Rhythm of the Night, and daft as it sounds, Wigfield Saturday Night. It was actually, I won't say it was cool, but it was just a dance tune, but they'd never play it upstairs. I'm not surprised. So, no, I get that, and the Euro dance stuff. Hadaway, What Is Love, all that kind of stuff. They'd never play that up there. Upstairs was house music and rave, you know. So I started doing all that and did a really good job to the point where downstairs started to get really busy.
Right.
You know, and I was like, yeah, this is really cool. You know, but I want to be up there.
Yeah. So how did that transition?
So Des was leaving early. He got a job in Japan. And Tony Palmer, who was the gaffer at the time, said, look, Des is leaving. I'm going to shut downstairs. And do you want to play upstairs for the rest of the season?
Wow.
And I said, well, yeah, how long's the rest of the season? He said, well, we'll stay open until you want to go home. I said, I don't want to go home. Literally, I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
In the words of the Wolf of Wall Street, I'm not fucking leaving.
Yeah.
I was like, that's it, I'm staying. And I got my first chance to play upstairs. And I was on my own all night from got busy at like 1 o'clock till 6 in the morning. And the tunes stick in my head, when you remember tunes from a certain area, like Atlantic Ocean Waterfall and Blast Crazy Man and, all the 94 stuff, La Luna, to the beat of the drum, bang, Artemisia bits and pieces, all them tunes when they were young and raw. And I just, I had that chance to play upstairs and took it the ball by the horns.
Oh, yeah, I bet you did.
And loved it, In Des's absence, he was gone. He was off to Japan.
Who did you get to play with then when like in the BCM?
There wasn't many guest DJs towards the end of the season. It was just residents and they were just open,
Right, yeah.
But at a time when, there wasn't, it was, the club's reputation would see it busy anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then I used to do all the light show music and build it up and introduce all the dancers. And Jerry Halliwell was a dancer at BCM then, from Spice Girls.
Yeah. Wow.
So that was a big turning point for me because going back to the UK after it closed and trying to get gigs in the winter when you were a DJ working abroad in the summer, even if you worked in Ibiza, which was going off like a rocket at that time.
Yeah.
It was tough unless you were associated with one of the top clubs.
Yeah.
Unless you were a Pasha resident or Amnesia, Privilege, BCM. Going back to the UK, like, he's worked in the resort. Oh, you work in a bar, did you?
Yeah.
No. To go back and say I was a BCM resident DJ and have photos, because I was taking photos. Wish we'd got video back then. My God, that would have been amazing. But before the times of phones and cameras.
So you had the proof there, though.
So I had the photos, I had the flyers with my name on it and and I was like, got back to Blackpool and I wasn't intending on staying in Blackpool. And Sandra comes running up to me in the business. Hey, lovey, we need to talk to you. We're closing Pub Arana, we're opened upstairs and they're building Main Street downstairs, so the business is going to go upstairs. And I went in the business, it was empty. Saturday night, empty. I thought, what's going on? So she was panicking,
Yeah.
I said, I'll tell you why it's empty. She said, tell me, you're honest, tell me the truth. It's empty because your DJs are playing shit music. That's the be-all and end-all. Once you open Main Street, stick all your cheesy DJs down there. They'll love all that. Up here, go proper, go dance.
Yeah.
Go big or go home,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
So, and I said, put some guest DJs on. When you had Graham Park in 93, smashed it. It wasn't even your event, but your bars did well, didn't they? Well, sold a lot of water.
Yeah. That's the early 90s for you.
So they gave me Fridays and Saturdays in the business. And that, again, my first proper long-term residency. And we took it from Friday, Saturdays to 6 nights a week.
Really?
It was that busy. Once Main Street opened, it was upstairs was like, they've got a dance room upstairs. It was the first time they could say they've got a dance room. And it was only open 10 till 2, don't forget, back in the days. All the clubs were.
Oh, yeah, I remember, yeah.
So you get 4 hours in the club, that's it. So 11 till 2 was your peak hours.
Yeah.
So I just, again, took the ball by the horns.
Yeah.
Late 94 till middle of 97 I was there. And really smacking the shit out of it.
Yeah.
The business is still, revered as like a good dance club.
Of course it is, yeah.
And it was totally me, 100% me. And I don't blow my own trumpet. No, but it was the direction I took it in.
Yeah, of course it is, yeah.
Hearing things like Josh Wink, Higher State of Consciousness, and Tori Amos, Professional Widow, and all them. Nobody was playing that kind of stuff in Blackpool. Maybe, and even Sequins and Oz. They were still on the big piano tunes, and and we did that on a Friday. We thought, let's do the old school on a Friday. Old school, I was only 5 years old at the time. You know what I mean? And then we did all the new stuff on a Saturday, all the new house music and all the new Ibiza tunes, because I knew what was going on abroad.
Yeah.
And I'd go to Ibiza quite regularly. I'd bring back stacks of records and like go to the clubs, hear the DJs playing the tunes. bring them all back.
Would that have been like early trance days? Very, very early trance. Trance was a bit later, wasn't it?
Later, yeah.
What, at 98, 99 trance?
I mean, the first trance record that popped over into the mainstream was probably Robert Miles' Children, you know, and that was groundbreaking at the time.
Yeah.
I think that was 97.
ATB Till I Come, that was later, wasn't it?
Later, that was 99, 98, 99. So, again, I had a little fallout with the Nordwinds again. And it was more to do with who they wanted to put on, and the manager at the time I didn't get on with at all.
Yeah.
So I went back to BCM in 97. So I did 97, 98, 99, 2000 in
full
BCM.
Residency. Every
summer. Full. Mainly downstairs, but they changed it. We started doing phone parties and, like, you know, fun parties. But I would smack the shit out of it. Yeah. And again, when you talk about ATB and early trance, you know, Cafe Del Mar, Energy 52, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I've got tapes and CDs from 97 to 2000. It's just all the stuff you hear today. Yeah. But banging, you know. Yeah. Southside Spinners, Love Struck, all that. The early trancey stuff was really, really good. Yeah. Still a bit Euro beaty. Yeah. But, you know, I made my mark down there. Do you know what I mean? And I'll never forget, and this sticks in my head, they had Armand Van Helden upstairs. Right. So it's all house music. And they had me downstairs on my own doing a phone party. We had 3,000 people downstairs, and upstairs was empty. Really? With Armand Van Helden on. Really? I couldn't believe it. So they brought Armand Van Helden downstairs. So look, this is, and he's like, so met him, had a little photo, you know, nice to meet you, big fan, you know. Yeah. And then I saw, I was upstairs, and he went, no good. Like, why? It's Armand Van Helden, man. He was
Fubar's downstairs.
He was at his peak. No, but it's just different. It was fun. You know, we had a fun night. They were being serious. Yeah. I mean, if you'd have done that in Ibiza, it'd been rammed upstairs. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's just, I don't know. It's just, it felt like a turning point musically for the scene where it was going more banging. A little bit like what it is right now. The speed of stuff now, with all the stuff that's out at the minute, it feels like it's getting faster and faster. Yeah. Like it used to be. You know, if you have a look at what's going on in the world now, all the hard dance raves and that, it's gone ballistic. Yeah, of course it is, yeah. But it was like that, 97, 98, 99. It started going faster and faster. Yeah. And then, of course, trance peaked at 98, 99, 2000. Yeah, 2000s, yeah. And then that went off, and the rise of Tiesto and Ferry Corson, Paul Van Dyke and all that lot. Unbelievable era. Oh, brilliant music. Really uplifting, really energetic. You know, the crowd, the trance crowds, of all the years I've been doing this, the trance crowds were the best crowds. Yeah. Because, they might have all been off the nut, but they were dead happy. Of course. Like hugging, self-sustaining. That's it. It's not like that anymore. Love, peace and unity. That's what it was. Did you ever do any production or anything like that when you were younger? In them areas? I did my first track in 95. Right. It's called Somebody Scream, and it was terrible. Was it? But I got it signed to a label. Right. I couldn't believe it. Reach Records, 007, I think it was. It was called DJ Fubar featuring Joe, Somebody Scream. And I'd done what a lot of DJs did back then. I used a lot of different samples. The main sample was CLS, Can You Feel It? Can you feel it? Feel it? And that, but the bass line was dum doo 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 doo, like a bit high energy. It was awful. It was shocking. Was it? And I rapped in it. Did you? I did a rap in it. Oh, wow. We need to hear this track. Someone needs to pull it up. DJ Fubar featuring Joe. It's on YouTube. I can send you a copy, but I'd be embarrassed. However, at the business, I booked Piano Man to come and do a live show. And it was at the time when Blurred was big. He did a remix, a big piano thing with Girls and Boys of Blur. And it was called Blurred, and it got signed to FFR Records. And so we had him, and he was watching me DJing before he went. He was up in the old helicopter DJ box. Yeah. And he was like, oh, man, I love your mashups. They're so good. And I played my track, and I did a bit of a PA of it. So I got some girls on stage, and I did I'ma keep on dancing, I keep a jumping, a bumping. Did me rap bit. Yeah. And he was like, wow, this your tune? I went, yeah. And at the time, it wasn't signed. And he said, do you want me to do a remix of it? Like, Piano Man, he was like huge at the time. Yeah. So he did a remix on the B-side, and it was literally just a big, hands in the air piano, big beat behind it with just my rap. Right. So none of the samples, and unfortunately not Joe's voice either. And it was that went big. Yeah. And that's why it got signed. So that was my first dipping my toe into making music.
Really?
And, you know, we were making tunes in people's sheds, in people's, you know, putting a towel over the door so we could do some vocals.
Yeah.
It was so crude, but it worked.
Of course it did, yeah.
You know? So, yeah, and from then I started making more and more stuff. And I did a remix of K-Class Rhythm is a Mystery, which was actually quite good. The unfortunate thing about it was Mixmag got K-Class to review it.
Right. Oh, wow.
Now, I'm mates with K-Class, Russ and Paul at the minute, and we joke about it.
Right.
So do you remember that shit version of Rhythm is a Mystery you did? Oh, no.
Go on, what was the review? Tell us what...
No, they didn't slate it, to be fair. They were like, you know, we feel that you shouldn't touch a record like this, even though it's ours, you know.
Because it's
There's
absolutely
certain tunes
iconic,
you
right?
should never remix. But everybody's remixing everything to death now, so maybe I was just ahead of my time.
Yeah. The sampling everything, I thought remixes
There was
a
no
bit different,
samples. I completely replayed everything. I did 4 different versions of it, and I got my mate Jo, who did my first record. She did all the vocals. She did it really well.
Yeah.
I think it's actually not a bad version, and even today, I'm actually quite proud of it because it's the most in depth, the first one that I ever did.
Right. You put your heart and soul into it, basically.
Yeah. Making music's tedious and monotonous. It's hard work.
Yeah.
You know, and when we talk about the trance scene, when the trance scene kicked off, in the winters, in the summers I'd do BCM, in the winters I'd come and play in the UK.
Yeah.
In the winter of 1999, I was doing the Palace. I took the job because I just wanted to play at the Palace and say, tick, done the Palace. But I got offered Heaven and Hell in Leeds with Peter Clark because he had a Heaven and Hell in Blackpool that had absolutely wiped the Palace out. So I was like, yeah, new club, Leeds. Leeds is a good city for dance music. Yeah, the Hell Room is probably more my street. So yeah, I took the job. And at the same time, I'd won the UK DJ of the Year. So I entered a competition.
Right.
And a national competition. I did a heat in Bolton, semi-final in Derby, and the final was supposed to be in London, but it was in Watford. But I won it.
So how did you enter that then?
You have to DJ. You have to like literally enter it.
Enter it how? Through DJ Mag or was it?
It was an agency at the time, Big Bang, and they did it every year. And it used to be sponsored heavily as well, like big sponsors. You know, it was like Martini or Malibu or whatever. Mine was Coca-Cola, so Coca-Cola sponsored it.
Right.
And it was, like I say, it was a national competition. So I won it. I was, you know, fair and square. There were some really bloody talented DJs in the final as well. And winning that, I said the guy who was managing the Palace at the time was like, "Please don't leave. You know, we need you." And I was like, "Yeah, but the Palace ain't what it used to be. You know, it was good. Don't get me wrong. I actually enjoyed working at the Palace.
Yeah,
it just wasn't that busy.
Yeah,
Friday and Saturday was okay, but to go and get the opportunity to open a club in Leeds, brand new club, on the arcade. I think it used to be. It's a big name like Back to Basics.
Oh yeah.
In that, so that, you know, big area for dance music. So I was like, no, I've got to go and do this club in Leeds. I'm sorry. In Leeds in '99, I found out that they were going to do the Love Parade the next year in Roundhay Park. So I thought, Love Parade, right? Let's make a track. So I got in the studio in Blackpool with a guy called Darren Michaels, and we produced a remix of Dahul, the Love Parade, Meet Her at the Love Parade.
Yeah.
I got some test pressings printed, sent it off to Judge Jules, Dave Pearce, Pete Tong, Carl Cox, and took a little while. It was bubbling away. You know, I was playing it in the clubs religiously because it was banging. You know? And then all of a sudden, Judge Jules played it on Radio 1. That's it. Went. Then Pete Tong played it. Then Dave Pearce played it. Then Carl Cox played it. And it just snowballed. I pressed 2,000 copies because I had no deal with anyone, and it wasn't technically my record; it was my remix. Yeah. And the record went to number 46 in the chart. Really? Yeah. I mean, didn't break the top 40, sadly, but you know, I was close. Yeah. But for a dance track, then to even get anywhere near the top 40, I was like, wow, you know. But then when I was in Mallorca, and I was getting people like, "Oh, you're Fubar, I love your Love Parade track." I was like, How are you hearing it? Because I'd never heard it. And it was my mate Pat, and he actually paid for the pressing, so I couldn't afford it at the time. It's a couple of grand or something. And when Julesy played it on Radio 1, he was in the bath. And he jumped out the bath, he's rang me. Right. You know, I was in Mallorca, the early mobile phones then. Yeah. Your track's on the radio. Like, you know, I was like, wow, oh my God. And then the same week, Judge Jules was playing at BCM.
Right.
And he come over and he's like waving it at me. He's going,
nice.
like, love it.
And how did that make you feel?
Oh, 10 foot tall, mate.
Yeah.
To you know, yeah, technically it's not my record, but if you listen to the original and listen to mine, it's quite different.
Yeah,
you know, mine's banging.
Yeah.
Whereas the original's a bit more floaty and progressive. Mine is like full on, hard dance and trance, you know. Yeah. And then to hear that other DJs are playing it, and you know, it's just like, wow, me mind was blown. And I remember being over there, early internet again, listening to the Radio 1 Love Parade at Leeds and hearing my track and hearing, like, you know, I would think they had 100,000 people there, just hearing them roar when my mix came on. I'm just sat there like that. It's
giving me goosebumps thinking about it, yeah.
Just like, holy hit.
Yeah.
And weirdly enough, I got offered then an agent, and I was getting offered remixes, and I was getting offered gigs abroad. I got offered South Africa, got offered New York.
Really?
Got offered Dubai.
So that was it global?
Mate, I was like, wow, because this track went... Radio 1 at the time, I don't think people realise how big it actually was abroad.
Yeah.
Because it was syndicated abroad to a lot of different radio stations. And because of the internet, people were listening online. Yeah. People were listening to get their tunes. You know, how did you used to get your tunes? Back in the day, you used to go in a record shop and listen to them, didn't you? Of course. Now you had Radio 1's pumping it out from Pete Tong days.
Yeah.
And Stu Allen on
Key 103.
Key 103. You had a vehicle then for finding out what tune it is, who's playing it. So that was the first time I got a taste of anything like being near the big league.
Stardom.
A little bit, yeah, it was. You know, and that snowballed in my gigs, because my gigs got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know, so from the year 2000, it was my last season at BCM. 2001, I ended up going to Greece again, and I got offered a club to take it over.
Same place as where you
started?
No,
different resort, Kavos.
Right, yeah.
Kavos is just mental, innit?
Yeah.
And there's a place called Futures, so I did 7 nights a week there, but I programmed all the nights, booked a lot of the DJs, booked Judge Jules, booked this, you know, and started. I earned a lot of money that season. It was like, you know, working abroad. And again, another gig felt it. You know, when you feel like the momentum's there now.
Yeah.
Late in 2001, I got offered Ministry of Sound in Bangkok.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that's different gravy.
Different gravy.
Wow.
Different gravy, yeah.
Yeah. So I went to Ministry in London. And I knew a lot of the DJs from BCM. You know?
How did that phone call go?
Yeah, quite quick. When can I start?
Right, yeah.
It was, towards the end of the season. And a friend of mine from Blackpool, Peter Bowden, and he said... They were doing a joint thing with Ministry of Sound, it was a franchise, with Luminar Leisure at the time, and a company in Bangkok. And they knew they couldn't take any of their DJs with them. You know, It's like, because, you know, the discotheque DJs wouldn't have fitted into Ministry of Sound, but they knew my pedigree of being dance music, and I was the obvious choice to them. So I said, well, let's go and have a look at it. So I flew out in November, had a look at it. Was still a building site then. It was opening in December, and but it was purpose built from the ground up. It was a purpose built venue, so it was just incredible, and it had the best JBL sound system that I've ever heard in my life. You know, the VIP was incredible. The dance floor. There's a culture in Thailand and in Asia in particular of having tables and having bottles. Yeah. You know, so for me, the dance floor was tiny, but then it was just massive, big room full of tables and all that. Yeah. But they're like, they pay top dollar for them. Yeah, so I didn't get that. I'd never seen that other than in Ibiza, you know. So I got the job over there, and I was there for a year. And being a booker of talent as well, we brought in quite a lot of big DJs as well, like Paul Van Dyke and Pete Tong, Roger Sanchez, Julesy, a few of my friends as well, Brandon Block, Alex P, and you know, it's like jobs for the boys, you know. Yeah. Because if I can give people a gig, I'll give them a gig.
Yeah,
you know
of course. I mean?
Yeah. And I was never one of those kind of people. You give me a gig, I want a gig back. You know, I just want to put on the best parties.
Of course.
Which, you know, at that time, working in Asia, earning a really good amount of money, tax free, basically. You know, having an apartment on the 19th floor of this beautiful block, and just absolutely living the dream.
Yeah, loving life.
Crazy. The club was incredible. But while I was there, then getting offered India and Singapore and Shanghai and Vietnam, and I was flying in and out everywhere. So, and then in the middle of the summer, I played in America. I got offered an East Meets West tour, did San Diego, Las Vegas, Chicago, Miami.
Wow.
So from that point onwards, it was like I'm now in the motion of getting somewhere to be a big DJ.
Yeah.
I think the thing that sometimes I get a bit frustrated when I get a bit of hate in Blackpool sometimes, because there's not everybody's going to like me, you know what I mean? I get that. But then the hate comes from lack of knowledge, because like the things I'm talking to you now, people haven't got a clue I did all that.
No, I didn't.
You know? Yeah, this is it, you know.
Yeah.
Having records out. I mean, my record was on the Ministry of Sound album, and it was #1 in Thailand. You know, we on the front of magazines, and you know, there's all sorts of things.
Yeah.
You know, where people haven't got a clue what I did. You know, and they're like,
it's a very small town.
Just that DJ from Blackpool, aren't
It's a very small town. It's very
very
narrow-minded people. But unfortunately, yeah. But you know, times change, don't they?
You can't please everyone.
No,
that's the thing I learned very early in my career. Even at the times before social media, before internet, before forums and Facebook and all that sort of stuff. If you didn't like the DJ and you didn't like the music, who are you telling?
Yeah, of course.
You're either telling the doorman on the way out, DJ shit, or the owner of the club or the manager or whatever. That was how it was. And one time in 97, I think it was, and I was playing High State of Consciousness, Josh Wink, like groundbreaking track, but really underground, you know, at the time. I mean, it became commercial by default.
Yeah.
And she comes running up to the DJ, watch this shit you're playing. Sounds like birds tweeting. I said, yeah, but look at the dance floor.
Yeah, that's it. So when you come back from, you've gone to Greece, Kavos, done that for a year. Then you've gone out to
Bangkok.
Out to Bangkok
for the year.
And then that's it. You come back to Blackpool, and then it all changed for you. Did it go into this? Was it
a weird little thing changed? As in the day before I flew to Bangkok, I made somebody pregnant.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Little things changed.
Yeah. So I found out in the middle of my Bangkok spell that she was pregnant.
Yeah.
But she didn't think it was my child, and it ended up being my child.
Yeah.
Kenzie, my little beautiful daughter. So part of that, of being a father and finding out as a dad, I actually didn't find out as a dad until I got home. I had a DNA test because I was like, I don't trust anyone.
Yeah, I get it.
Towards the end of my first year at Ministry of Sound, because Ministry was so popular, there's a lot of corruption in Thailand, a lot of corruption in Bangkok. A lot of rival club owners didn't like the fact that Ministry was there and eating away at their profits.
Oh, yeah.
So we had regular visits from the police. They literally shut the club down one night, made everybody do urine tests, samples for drugs, everything. Yeah, and it actually killed the club for a little while.
Did it?
The club did recover, but I could see the writing was on the wall there. You know, as popular as it was and amazing as it was, I thought the police have just got it hell-bent to shut this place down.
Yeah.
And they were paying the police.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there was brown envelopes left, right and centre.
Yeah.
But when the other club owners are paying more to get them closed down...
Yeah, that's it.
It was the writing was on the wall.
It's the music industry in a whole, though, in a sense. You know, it's...
I mean, I don't think it's that extreme, to be fair, but there's a lot of competitive edge and there's a lot of competitive buyouts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
So when that started to happen... excuse me... I bumped into part of me when I was touring while I was at Ministry. There was a Buddha holiday. We had to close for 5 days, so I flew to Ibiza and Mallorca, and I got some gigs. Played at BCM, played a couple of gigs in Ibiza, and I bumped into Michelle Nordwind in Mallorca, who's the daughter of Mike and Sandra, who own the business.
Yeah.
Oh, you need to come home. You need to come home. We bought the ABC cinema. Oh, what? And I was trying to think, I watched bloody Star Wars in there and Teen Wolf. And I was trying to think.
Jurassic Park I watched in there.
I couldn't quite get to grips. How are you going to turn that into a nightclub?
Yeah.
You know, it's massive. But then I was thinking, it could be a big club, that. Why don't you fly home and see us? I can't. I'm literally finishing the gig tonight. Tomorrow I'm flying to London, flying back to Bangkok. Got back to Bangkok. She's on the phone to me constantly.
Yeah.
right, okay, there's an opportunity that I could fly home next week for three days. You know, bearing in mind, I'm 8,000 miles away across the. It's not just like, oh, I'll just nip down the road.
Yeah.
So they paid for my flights to come home. And I come home and I went in, I had a look at it, and I was just like, wow, God, you got some cojones building a club like this in this day and age. Because nightclubs, super clubs, Gatecrasher, Cream, God's Kitchen, they all started to slow down and started to go less weekly and more monthly.
Yeah.
So I was like, again, this is a bit of a weird time in dance music. But the size of the gap, and I told them what I was earning, and I said, look, you got to break the bank to bring me back. I'm living in Bangkok, tax free, having the time of my life.
Yeah.
Like, you know, not just DJing, but with the girls, with everything. I was a single guy, I had no care in the world. You know, I was having such a good time. You've got to really put some meat on the bones. You know, if you want to get me back to Blackpool from Bangkok, you got to break the bank. Yeah. And that's not me being arrogant, but that's me being a realist. I've got opportunities here in Bangkok where I'm
global
playing in
DJ,
India,
basically.
I'm playing in Asia, I'm playing in America. Do you know what I mean? There's opportunities coming out of this.
Of course it is,
To go back to Blackpool and just do another club don't work for me. So I kind of lay a marker down for them. I said, well, I want to design the DJ box. I want to have a say in the lighting and the sound, where that goes.
And this club being?
Syndicate.
Yeah.
I said, but more importantly, you've got to make a commitment to talent. Because if you think for 1 minute, having as good a DJ as I know I am and how you know I am, if you think I'm going to put 5,000 people in this club week in, week out, you're sadly mistaken. I'm a realist. Yeah. I'm not. That's not going to happen. Yeah. You know, I know I can keep the crowd, and I can build a crowd. Yeah. And I can take it in any direction you want. Of course. Yeah. But you've got to put in big DJs. Yeah. So they agreed. Reluctantly, they agreed. They were like, no, we don't need all these DJs. You do. Really? You actually do. Yeah. So I got them Judge Jules on the opening night. And at the time, Judge Jules was the number one DJ in the world on DJ Mag. Yeah. You know, so they were like, oh my God, he's got us Judge Jules. Amazing. Yeah. And we were doing bookings then for like Tiesto, Paul Van Dyke, Ferry Corsten, you know, all the big sort of trancey DJs, not just like the house stuff as well. Yeah. But the club struggled at first because it was new. And all the agents are like, oh, new club. Well, they knew me from Ministry and BCM. So that held a lot of weight in its own. But Blackpool just wasn't on the radar for anybody at the time. Oh, yeah. So anyway, slowly it went off. I'll never forget the opening night. I had nearly 4,500 people. The opening Friday was dead. Yeah, the Thursday. Thursday was rammed. Yeah, I was there. Yeah, I was there. The Friday was probably 400 people, 500 was people. Was it really? Tops. Yeah. And we had Judge Jules on the Saturday. Now, I thought Judge Jules would have rammed it out. We had about 1,200 people. Really? But they were mostly upstairs, and it was a great atmosphere. Yeah. So the Syndicate took, because it opened in December. Yeah. Imagine opening a club and then you got January, February. Yeah. In Blackpool, out of season. You got no chance. Nobody's out. Nope. So the first 2-3 months were really tough. Not a lot of people from that era will remember that. I remember because they just remember the headlines of when we had Armin and Calvin Harris and David Guetta. You know, the thing what they forget is the first 3-4 months were tough. And I was that close to going back to Bangkok. Really? Really close. The turning point came Easter. Easter went off like a rocket. Yeah. Like, I think they took £250,000 that weekend. Really? And then it just started slowly snowballing again, getting bigger and bigger. Yeah. And then I was in Ibiza that summer, and I'm at Judge Jules' villa party. He had a villa party after the Radio 1 weekend. And I don't mind saying this. I was doing a bit of naughty stuff in the toilets with a certain DJ and a certain Radio 1 producer. Yeah. And out of that weekend, we managed to get the Essential Mix live from the Syndicate. Right. Which was trying to get that. That was like God territory. Yeah. If you get the Essential Mix with Pete Tong or any of the big DJs at your club, that's your club into folklore. Oh, yeah, of course. Big time. That's so we got it for the following February, and we had Pete Tong live on the Essential Mix. Wow. Google it. Have a look. It's there. It's live. It sounds incredible. Yeah. Pete Tong going, we are live from the Syndicate in Blackpool. And the crowd going, wow. And that's you. Yeah, Yeah, and that's the connections and the doing naughty stuff in Ibiza, which I'm not proud of, but hey,
Well, then
we've all done naughty stuff in our life. But
some of the biggest deals.
You know what it felt like that inner circle.
Yeah.
If you're in that inner circle and you're socialising with them, and you're getting high with them, then things happen.
This is what I mean, yeah.
You know, so I mean, I was a late starter to drugs. And I don't really want to touch too much on it, but I did cocaine and ecstasy at the time.
Yeah.
I was late on ecstasy. I didn't take that till I was in my 30s.
Really?
Yeah. But I never bought drugs in my life. It was all bloody laid on.
From the music industry?
Yeah, it was just like, do you want a bit of that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
I was quite awkward with all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't like it at all.
No.
Getting the job at BCM, I walked into the gaffer doing lines of gear on the desk.
Yeah.
And he put paper on the top of it.
Yeah.
I've heard you're looking for a DJ. Just dead awkward, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas, I rack them up, you know.
Yeah. Comes part and parcel, doesn't it? You know,
it's the industry. It is what it is, you know. And I'm quite happy that I never got that far
sucked into it, where some people do.
I was mad for the music. I was still playing football at the time, so it would have affected my football, and I was really mad for my sports. I mean, you wouldn't look at me now; I'm a big guy now, but you know, I was really heavy into my sports, my skiing, my football, my cricket, rugby, skiing, canoeing, everything. Yeah, you know, so that kind of took precedent.
As it does, yeah. So basically, so the drug scene in the industry, especially like being yourself, like yourself, going global. I mean, what's it like in other countries? Is it still the same? Like, so BCM, yeah. I mean, like that's kind of British, kind of still the same kind of culture. What about like over in Asia and things like that? I mean, or America and things.
If you have a look at any videos of Vietnam, Thailand, China, and have a look at any raves, the obvious thing that smacks you right in the face, well, not a lot of people will realise why. If you have a look at the crowd, most of them have got sunglasses on.
Right.
Why have they all got sunglasses on? In the middle of a dark club to hide their eyes.
Yeah.
Because the majority of them are off the nuts.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot, back then people talked about Thailand. If you get caught with drugs on you, it's the death penalty. And same with Dubai, things like that. It's really, really strict. But it goes on. Yeah. Of course it goes on. Dubai, how strict Dubai is. Prostitution, drugs, everything there. You know, you can get whatever you want if you look hard enough. And in Thailand, that was the thing of a lot of the truckers were all on yabba, and I ain't got a clue what that is, but cocaine was rife in the clubs.
Yeah.
And that's why when the police started intervening was that they knew that people that were coming to them raves were either on ecstasy or cocaine or anything else.
Yeah, of course.
And that's why we got heat put on us. You know, the UK club scene was built on ecstasy, 100%. You know, without ecstasy, I don't think it would have got as big as it did. And I think the control levels that were put in by government and police and all that and there was a lot of scare tactics at the time, with the newspapers and that, like it'll, they talk about the high profile drug deaths. From the percentage of people taking it to the people that actually had an adverse reaction to it was minute.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Absolutely minute.
They throw it out there, don't they?
More people die of alcohol poisoning and alcohol-related illnesses every year and smoke, tobacco, but they don't ban them, do they?
No, that's it.
They're
all taxable.
Taxable. Well, they should tax ecstasy. I'm not a massive fan of cocaine, I'll be honest with you. I think it ruins the vibe in a club.
Of course it does, mate, yeah.
I've always said
over the years... It ruined the dance industry.
It really did. I've always said over the years, give me a room full of pillheads any day of the week.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that set the atmosphere.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
They're the ones that have got the vibe. The DJ, as a DJ, you give them what you give them. You give them your energy. You give them your passion and your love for the music. And when they're on ecstasy, they give it back. Yeah. From the atmosphere, it was just... That's why I talk about the trance scene. The trance scene was built on euphoria. It's called trance, put you in a trance. The euphoric highs and lows of the builds and the breaks. I've
sent you on a journey,
It's never experienced a crowd quite like, BCM, Ministry of Sound, Syndicate was a big part of, I was at Syndicate for 8 years. That's my biggest residency. Wow. From 2002 to 2010.
Yeah.
And again, in between, I'm flying off to Ibiza and Las Vegas and America. And, I've been going to Thailand ever since because I'm still quite well revered in Thailand.
Right.
this January, I'm playing in Bangkok, and it's the 25th anniversary of Ministry of Sound.
Really?
And they're making a big thing of it, because it only lasted 2 or 3 years, Ministry, with all the hassle they got from the police.
Who's on there then?
Just me and the residents.
Right.
So I'm the headline DJ, and then they've got Sunzo and Tom, MDJT, and a few others, the guys that were resident DJs. So I chose all the residents for Ministry.
Right, yeah.
So we went and did a DJ competition, if you like.
Yeah.
Like an auditions. So I chose all the Ministry DJs.
Right.
Part of me being there was I do the DJs. I want to make sure we got the right team. I took Damien Saint with me from the UK. He was at the waterfront as a DJ, and he was doing the lights and stuff. Yeah. He's now in Bali, living the dream. He's producing, DJing, done really well for himself.
You've opened doors for a lot of people, haven't you?
Yeah, it's just, I'm one of them kind of people. I'm not selfish. If I can help you on the way up, or on the way down, if I can help anybody on, get the. I mean, I've given a lot of DJs their first gigs.
Yeah.
Daft as it sounds, David Guetta, when he was nobody, he just had one record out. I booked him in Blackpool.
Right.
And paid £1,000 for him. What's £1,000 for David Guetta? Now he's like $500,000, $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
Eddie Halliwell, £500, and then he went off, went mental,
things,
Global, Radio 1, all that. Calvin Harris, his agent was bugging me to book him. Yeah. And I didn't like the song at the time, Acceptable in the 80s. And I was like, that's a bit too cheesy for Syndicate.
Yeah.
And then he did.
Go on, Calvin.
You're Not Alone. No, honestly, it was one of them, and I'm sure that his agent would agree. He was hitting a lot of brick walls at the time because he was more known for being. He was like a pop star, Calvin Harris, before he went dance mainstream.
Yeah.
And he released "You're Not Alone." That went massive, and okay.
Yeah, we'll have him now.
I mean, we paid him $5,000 the first gig.
Yeah.
And we had him again later, and I think we paid him 10, 12 the second gig. But you could see his trajectory was going mental.
Oh yeah. What's the most you've ever paid for a DJ? Being a booking like for
Eric Murillo.
Yeah.
$26,000.
How long was that for?
For a 2-hour set, Boxing Day 2004. It's mad how I remember the exact dates in it. But dates like that stick in my head. Sadly, his legacy is tainted because of the allegations of sexual harassment, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And unfortunately took his own life. But, there's a lot of people that will jump to his defence. There's a lot of people who say, no, he should be cancelled and forgotten forever. At the time, he was the biggest superstar house DJ, and he was a hero of mine at the time.
Yeah.
Sadly, it's tainted now. But, people like getting Paul Oakenfold to Blackpool.
Yeah.
I remember I worked for a guy called Simon Rain for a little while, the guy that owned Gatecrasher. Very arrogant guy, very confident, but hugely up his own arse with regards to thinking he was the greatest promoter and great Gatecrasher's the greatest in the world. And at the time, nobody could argue with him when he did, the gig in Sheffield on the Millennium.
Oh yeah.
At the stadium, they couldn't do no harm. They couldn't do no wrong. But when I worked for him, we were talking about the Syndicate, and I was saying I might go back there because I wasn't enjoying my time there with him. I was doing the works in Birmingham, and he was going to turn it into Gatecrasher, but they hadn't quite done it yet. So it's still a commercial club, and I wasn't enjoying it. I said, I'm probably going to go back to the Syndicate. He said, why? I said, well, I miss booking the big DJs, and, I think we, the new owners, because the Northerns had it shut down and then sold it, they've got a vision for putting on the biggest talent. Well, and I said, Tiesto, Paul Van Dyke, laughed me off. You'll never get any of them in there. What are you talking about? You'll never get them DJs. And it just rung in my brain that made me more determined to get those DJs. Yeah. Opening night, or the reopening night, Above and Beyond.
Yeah.
I was like,
see you later.
Who are you? And then we had Tiesto booked, but sadly the club got closed down, got its own license revoked.
Yeah.
And we never got a rebooking with him, sadly. But getting Armin van Buren in Blackpool, unbelievable.
So you stayed with the Syndicate then? The Northern sold it, and you stayed with the Syndicate?
No.
How did that pan out?
After the first couple of years, they started to get, because it was so busy, started to get a lot of grief off the police.
Yeah.
About, rates of crime and disorder outside when people are kicking out. When you're kicking out 4,000 people on a Saturday night, going to get a little bit of aggro. Of course you are. Yeah. The way the police went about it was disgusting. They had more police presence outside that club than they did at a Blackpool football match.
I remember, mate. I remember.
It was disgusting, you know. And they just had a bee in their bottle, in their bonnet to try and close it down. After a few incidents of like doormen throwing bottle skips down alleyways to get rid of the people that were fighting, the police got their own way, and they revoked the old license, because I don't know if you remember when the licensing laws changed and the smoking ban kicked in. Yeah. The syndicate had been granted already the new license. Right. So they only could take away that, but it hadn't come into effect yet. Right. So the legality behind it was that they've only taken away your old, they called it the grandfather rights. Right. The old license, the 2 a.m. license. Yeah. So you can actually open in a month. So they reopened in a month, and the day we reopened, we were supposed to have Tiesto. I was gutted, we had to cancel it. I was like, oh, why did we just hang on? Yeah. Anyway, we had Eddie Halliwell on the Rio and did really well with it, but the writing was on the wall. Everywhere else had a 4 o'clock. Syndicate had a 2 o'clock. Yeah. So that was going to be tough. Yeah. Sanook had just opened. And took away a bit of the mainstream crowd. Yeah. The downstairs level 1, level 3 crowd. Yeah. Doesn't matter what DJ we put on, we could fill that main arena. Yeah. But I knew the writing was on the wall, so I went and sat in front of the Northerns, and I said, look, I don't think you're going to keep this open much longer, because I can see the slide. Yeah. You're not booking the big DJs, in January, February, March like you were doing before. Yeah. I mean, bearing in mind, they'd made millions out of this place. Yeah. First year, it took over 7 million quid. Did it? So, and I'm sat there, and they're penny pinching, you know.
What was the build cost on it? Do you know?
About 3 million.
Is that all?
Yeah, and they got that off the brewery. So if you have a look at what they actually spent on it themselves, I think they bought the building and then got 3 million quid off the brewery. Wow. So when you get people talking about, oh my God, they built such an amazing club. Yeah, they did, but it wasn't their money. Yeah. Wow, that's unreal. I didn't think that at all. So I went away, and that's when I worked for Gatecrasher. So I did 6 months, 5 or 6 months with Gatecrasher.
Because there was not talks of Gatecrasher taking over Syndicate. Right.
I tried to get him to. Well, at the time they put it on the market. Yeah. So I came up with Simon Rain. Right. And had a look around it, and he loved it. He was like, "Oh, yeah, but they're asking for too much money." Yeah. And at the same time, Simon Rain was working with a guy called Paul Kinsey, who owns Springwood Leisure, and they owned a lot of Zanzibars, and he had properties in Yorkshire and this, that, and the other. And then he heard, and he was going to do it with Simon Rain, and I think he went in the back door and just bought it himself. Right. Very shrewd businessman, though. He bought it for 3 point whatever million it was, and then sold the freehold immediately to a property developer. Right. So he got his money back straight away, and he's got a free super club. Unbelievable. Went to the council, got the new license, got the 4 a.m. Then he came after me. Right. Yeah. You've got to go back. Yeah. We need you there. I want the old video guy, Stuart. I want the old lighting guy, Greg. Yeah.
Because it used to be awesome.
Oh, it was unbelievable. You know, and it was almost like we're putting the band back together. You know?
Yeah.
That was only 6 months it had closed. Yeah. In that 6 months, Sanook had opened and done really, really well. Yeah. But I think, because Sanook was so cheesy, and it was a commercial club, people were still yearning for that big DJ, that big experience, the big room. So when Paul Kinsey came back to me, I said, well, you know what they paid me? There's the book. Yeah. That's what I want. And it was from a normal resident DJ standpoint, it was an astronomical amount of money.
What was that? Go on.
It was a lot of money.
Can you let us in on
it? It was 6 figures.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was upwards, It was a lot of money. But again, for me, it wasn't about the money. It was about what you're putting into it. Yeah. Are you going to book the big DJs? Yeah. Because you need to invest. And he said to me, how much? I went, 20 grand a week. And he was like, gobsmacked. I went, but if it's taking 180, 200 grand a week, what do you care? Yeah, exactly. What's 20 grand? Yeah. It's like 10% of your money. Yeah. You spend more than that on doorman.
Of course, yeah.
And I have a thing in my career where I say, if you spend more money on doorman than you do on talent, you're in the wrong game.
Of course it is, mate.
You're in the wrong game. Yeah. If your DJ's...
Or you're in the wrong area, one or the other.
Yeah, one of them, yeah. That kind of vibe, yeah. So, straight off the bat, above and beyond Sonic on the opening night. Yeah. And then I went after Armin, I went after, Paul Van Dyke, went after all the big DJs. And it was one after the other. Yeah. Literally one after the other. And at the time, a lot of people took it for granted of how. I think people got, I don't want to say bored of it, but like, yeah, Syndicate will probably go next week.
Took it for granted.
Literally took it
Definitely,
for granted.
yeah.
Because it was an incredible venue.
Of course.
And when you look at the Thursday nights, a lot of people talk to me about the Thursdays. Why was the Thursday sort of commercial?
Local. It was local.
It was a local night. It was cheap in, £3 in, and it was £152 drinks.
Yeah. And
then musically, I played what every other club played on a Friday, Saturday, but I did it on a Thursday.
Right.
And it was Pretty Green Eyes, Cascada.
Yeah.
All the bouncy stuff, DJ Sammy, put your hands up for Detroit, put your hands up for Blackpool, blah, blah, blah.
The uplifting.
It was just banging and happy and you know, and then we finished the last half an hour, 45 minutes with trance every week in, week out.
Yeah.
And I'd spot the little trance heads all just milling about, going,
waiting for it.
Come on. Started with Tiesto, Adagio for strings, here we go, we're off.
Oh my God.
And that Thursday night ran from December 2002 till I left in May of 2010. So 8 years, a banging Thursday night, and it was the same fucking music every week. It didn't matter. They didn't want to change. They were like, "Don't." If I changed it up one week, they'd be like, people were like, "Where's Infinity? Where's this? Where's that?" You know. And I go, right, okay, it's coming.
How many people do you reckon lost their jobs on not going in on Fridays from them Syndicate nights due to Fubar?
Well, here's the thing,
Brilliant.
you know, when you talk about when clubs went from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m., two things happened. A lot of people lost their jobs because they were caning it till 4 in the morning. And Sunday football desecrated. Yeah. Absolutely desecrated. I used to play Saturday and Sunday football. Yeah. Saturday didn't really matter. People wouldn't really go mental on a Friday. So Saturday unit kickoff was at 2 o'clock on a Saturday. Yeah. Whereas the Sunday, 11 o'clock kickoff, it absolutely battered it. So the Blackpool and Sunday Filed Alliance went from 22 leagues down to 4, 5,
really?
6.
That bad?
Yeah.
Wow.
It murdered it. People just going out getting smashed. You know, if you're leaving a club at 4 a.m. and you're getting a kebab and a taxi and you get into bed for 5 a.m, you're not getting up at 10 a.m. to go to football.
Yeah.
Are you buggering?
And it's mostly your fault.
Well, mine and the government for changing the rules. Yeah, all right. I don't mind. No, because I played football, so I was like, go home, you mental. I'd see people I played with in the crowd like chewing the face. What? You're not going to play football tomorrow?
No.
The tunes are so banging though. Like, you know, mental.
So what year did you leave? 2010, did you say? Wow.
That hurt me, you know.
Did it?
I felt there was new management that came in. Same owner, but new manager. And the new managers that came in were from a discotheque background.
Right.
And they had very different ideas of how to, and it was all about saving money. Whereas I'm all about, now spend 20 grand, put Superstar DJ in, and don't worry about the bills because you'll be rammed. Yeah. You'll have 40 grand's worth of ticket revenue. Yeah. You know, and you'll have 80, 90 grand on the bar. That's what you're worried about. Yeah. And they were like, no, we can protect that, and if we just charge a tenner in and charge a fiver in, and in the end they started doing free wristbands on the prom just to get people in early doors, and that was affecting the capacity. And I was going, and then people cordoned onto that and going, oh, why do I need to buy a ticket? Just go and see that guy on the prom for a fiver. And it wasn't us that were getting the fiver. It was I know the people who own that company. They're good friends of mine. Yeah. They made a fortune out of the Syndicate.
I remember him. I remember this, yeah.
You're just giving your door away here.
Yeah.
And what it did was it started filling it full of beer boys. Yeah. And full of groups of lads. And
changed, didn't it?
The dynamics changed. The last 2 years, the dynamic changed of the club.
Yeah, definitely.
So when I had a big DJ on, you could see the pissheads around the outside and the pure clubbers on the front.
Caused a lot of fighting.
It didn't mix well.
Yeah.
And the other thing that at that time was a drug called Bubble.
Oh, yeah.
Bubble absolutely murdered the dance floor. Yeah. It was like cocaine but angrier. Yeah. You know, and you could smell it in the air as well. It was horrible. That wasn't a good time. And I remember feeling the mood in the air. Yeah. From going from like, you know, when we did Head Candy nights, dead happy and fluffy to like, and like staring down people. I was like, oh, this isn't good. What's happened here?
So drugs are a massive, massive influence on it.
Of course they are.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it goes with the genres, doesn't it? Really, like you say, it went in. What year was that? 2010. So it would have been more kind of hard house.
It's like electro house. The EDM scene was creeping in.
Just coming in.
So the Aviciis and the Steve Angelo's, the Swedish House Mafia. That you know, when I knew the writing was on the wall was when we had a date for Avicii, we had a date for Steve Angelo, we had another date for David Guetta, and Calvin Harris. We'd had in 2008. We had him again, I think, the end of 2010. But the music was going more like what we call EDM, the more American, really banging, but 130 BPM stuff.
Yeah.
That, Alesso and that Calvin Harris, I would say, was probably a bit of a pioneer in it.
Yeah.
They turned down Avicii at 15 grand, and I was just like,
really?
You dickheads.
Wow.
This guy is the biggest DJ in the world right now.
Yeah.
And you're turning him down at that money.
Why?
Your guess is as good as mine. I just think that it was the management level, because the owner was off doing his thing and didn't want to be bothered with it. He just wants to see the figures. Yeah. He wants to see the bottom line.
Yeah, so it wasn't even...
So the guys I'm having to ask permission for hadn't got a clue about dance music. Like discotheque managers, I just couldn't get my head around it.
When was DeVito there then? What year was that? Was that when you left?
He was 2008, 2007, 2008. Was it? That. Early. He was early.
Earlier.
And then he'd gone off, done his thing. He's in Dubai now.
Dubai now, yeah.
So yeah, it was a tough time that last year for me, and I knew the writing was on the wall there, and I thought, I've probably taken this as far as they're willing to go, not me.
Yeah.
And I still say to this day, Syndicate would still be here right now if they'd have carried on with the talent. Yeah. It might have been the downstairs would have been rubbish, and they might have done something else with that. But that main room upstairs, 2,500, 3,000 capacity, with all the big DJs now, we could, look at the way the industry's gone. People want the big industry.
Of course it is, yeah.
They want the big space. They want the warehouse feel.
Of course they do.
Upstairs had that feel.
That would have been, if that was open now, that would have been unbelievable.
As far as week in, week out, it would have suffered big time.
Yeah.
But it might have ended up being that 2 or 3 Saturdays of the month we had big talent on, and then you don't worry about it because it makes that much money when you have a big DJ. And you don't have to worry about the Thursday, Friday. When I left, the Thursdays went like that.
Yeah, of course it did.
Went absolutely in the gutter.
Yeah.
I went to Sanook and opened. I was going abroad again, and I went to Sanook and I opened the Thursday night up there, and within 5 months I'd shut them down. I had a real beam up on it, and I'm not proud of it, but at the time I was slating the Syndicate.
Yeah, I remember.
But I was slating them.
Yeah.
These people who run the Syndicate now, this is what they want. This is what we used to do. Yeah. Now this is what I'm doing now at Sanook.
Yeah.
And that outdoor terrace saved my bacon, because when the weather turned nice, rammed out there.
Brilliant, wasn't it?
And I remember I did an A-level results party, and it was my birthday as well, and we had 22 DJs that night.
Really?
Yeah. We had John Rundle, who's a techno DJ, plays with Carl Cox all the time. We had Stoneface and Terminal and Greg Downey upstairs and a few other trance DJs. We had a drum and bass room. We had a Randy Ron room with Danny Howard. And this, that, and the other. Yeah. We absolutely 2,500 people we did.
Really?
And the Syndicate,
none.
0.
Yeah.
The worst they've ever done.
Yeah,
and I just went like that.
Was that Domain then when it changed into Domain?
No,
it was still Sanook.
Because he was his dream to play that club, and it was just before he'd won the competition on Radio 1 as well. So I think, had they have kept up the talent, I think the club would have still been here to this day.
Yeah.
But in a different capacity, maybe it would have been, don't get me wrong, my friends and my daughter and people that I know, they travel everywhere for events.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have had to do if the Syndicate was still here.
Yeah, that's it.
Because they would have been still booking it. The change in DJ fees and the control of big companies like, Live Nation, the Warehouse Project and Part Life, they now have a lot of control over talent.
Yeah, of course.
Creamfield's the same. When you've got 60, 80,000 people that they're going after, they don't want them playing anywhere else.
Of course, yeah. So
there's been a lot of control in the industry since then.
Yeah. And the contracts.
It's kind of took me away from it a little bit, to be honest. I still book DJs, but I don't book anybody relevant now. It's all credible old school guys that I book with. I'll only work now with guys that I've got relationships with.
Yeah.
So, and it's tough. We tried again a few times, I managed to get the Nordwinds out of retirement to do Home and HQ.
Yes.
And we had Camel Fat and Salado and Sonny Federa and a few of the current relevant DJs now.
Yeah, yeah.
But again, I think the shifting mentalities across the industry has made it difficult for people like myself to get decent DJs.
Yeah.
When we talked about Sanook and you mentioned Domain before,
Yeah.
Domain was a little period in between. I opened Revolution in Blackpool in 2011.
Right.
And that went off like a rocket.
Oh, did it? Yeah,
it was amazing in there.
Yeah.
For a bar, that's supposed to be a cocktail bar from Manchester, I absolutely smacked it in there.
Yeah, you did.
It was really good. And it gave me a new lease of life after the Syndicate, because I had a year of really hurting, and playing gigs that I didn't really want to play. I was driving up and down motorways, and I was having a tough time at the time. And the Revolution came along, and that was incredible for what it was.
Was that after the recession or before? Was it after the recession? That
recession, yeah. I think it was after, the banking crisis and all that. The thing is though, so in between all that, people have tried again. So Peter, who owned Sanook, revamped it, rebranded it, and called it Domain.
Yeah.
And I booked MK on the opening night.
Yeah.
And sold out in 11 days.
Yeah.
And that was incredible. But 3 days later, Peter come to me and he said, "I don't want to book big DJs anymore. You just had a sellout event. What?
Yeah.
How? What? I just can't compute.
Yeah.
What's that about?" Yeah. So I lasted 4 or 5 months there. And I just thought, that's it.
Why is that then? Why?
Listen, I think he ran out of money.
Really?
Yeah, he was trying to build the downstairs bit and he didn't do it. And he just did the upstairs and the middle floor. And it wasn't the same. And chasing old dreams, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm saying, chase the future. What's the future? MK. And we had a few in. We had, Friend Within. We had Oliver Dollar, real pure house DJs.
Yeah.
So again, I'm still trying to push the boundaries a little bit.
Yeah.
Considering it's Blackpool.
Yeah.
But, he was quite happy when I booked Judge Jules and when they had Joel Corey on and a bit more commercial way, And I was going, yeah, they're good DJs, but, this is not the conversation we had.
Yeah, of course.
So I knew the writing was on the wall when I said to him, I've been offered a gig in Bangkok New Year's Eve. Big super club in Bangkok called Onyx. I said, go.
Really?
So you'd rather me be gone in Bangkok than having me on New Year's Eve in Blackpool for you?
And that was it.
That says everything to me.
Yeah.
So, and while I was away, I quit.
Yeah.
I ended up going back to Revs for a bit and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Revs was a real good in-between for me because I was paid reasonably decent money and I put my own night on a Thursday.
Yeah, the Thursdays again,
and I got a couple of quid ahead out of people, and that kept me going.
Yeah.
Then there was an opportunity to, I remember walking into, you remember the old Rumours?
Yeah.
So it's still called Rumours at this time. And I remember walking in, speaking to the owner, and I went up to his office, and then I said, "What's upstairs, by the way? I've always been dead curious as to what's upstairs."
Yeah.
Open the doors.
Wow.
Why's nobody ever seen this space?
Yeah.
And it was all plasterboarded, all like ready to go and just make a club in there.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. I didn't have enough money at the time, and otherwise I'd have done it myself. And I asked him if he wanted to do it with me. And he's retired, he's in his mid-70s, and he's like, no, I just want to sell the building now. So I thought, right, okay. And I'd had a little bit of a ding-dong with the Nordwinds before, and I thought, I wonder if they're interested.
Yeah.
So give him a call, went round and seen him. It was all huggy, lovey.
Oh, yeah.
Nice to see you again, I showed them my vision. They went round for it. And, they bought that. And then we built Home and HQ. Now, they brought me on board as a partner.
Right.
Which was nice.
Yeah.
That was a nice thank you. And I was supposed to have 20% of the building, but of the business, but supposed to have.
Right.
Hence why the fallout in the end came.
So that's what it was all about then.
Yeah, just they had all the chips and didn't want to give any out.
Really?
So we did well with Home and HQ, and that building was a sleeping giant. I said that for a long time. Rumours in its day was rammed.
Yeah.
And then it fell by the wayside. But then when I saw that room upstairs, I was like, this could be a real nice. Let's make it industrial. Let's make it gritty, and let's have the beams showing. The brick and the
warehouse kind of style.
Make it a warehouse feel, and we did that. We achieved that. We put a massive sound system in there. I mean, the sound system was like 80 grand.
Was it a Void or was it
Void?
Void, yeah.
It was a Void. It was beautiful. And again, I built a DJ box. We had windows at the back. We had built it like a boiler room scenario, so people could dance around the DJ and all that. And we did really well. Like the names I just reeled off before. Yeah. Salado, Sonny Federa, Camel Fat. You know, these are big name DJs now.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know, and we did loads of stuff there. The unfortunate thing for me was when it got to sort of a year and a half into it and I hadn't received anything, I got a wage, you know, and they were, we're paying you a wage. Yeah, it's a basic wage. Yeah. I was getting to DJ 3 nights a week and do all the bookings and do all the marketing, all the promotion. Yeah. There's an old saying, you build it, I'll fill it. That was always, Syndicate was the same. The business was the same. You build it, I'll fill it. Yeah. That's what I'm good at. Yeah. But when they offered me 20% of the business and then didn't give me anything, I then sat in front of them and went, what's going on? Yeah. Well, you'll get it when we sell. I was like, that was never the agreement. Yeah. What, you know, what do you think I'm working to here? And I sat down and went through my accounts with them and I said, I'm like 30 grand a year down.
Was never a contract signed?
No, it was because of our relationship in the past.
Clever business, you see. That's what...
you'd say clever business, but that's underhand, really, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? They had no intention of paying me.
That's what I mean. On their side, that's what it's probably the intention all along. Yeah.
So it got a little bit heated in the end, and I was just like, you know what? And they waited until the day before I left to try and make a counter offer. Right. The day before I left, I'd literally put my keys on the desk and went, I'm done.
Really?
Yeah. You guys they're rich, you know, they're probably multi-millionaires. And I said, I'm here on the fucking breadline. Yeah. I said, it's ridiculous how you've treated me. You promised me 20% and you've paid more in capital gains and, more in corporation tax than you've paid me. Corporation tax is paid on profit. Yeah. So you've made the profit and you'd rather, and I said this to them face to face, so you'd rather give the government 20% than give me 20%. Wow. That says everything about you guys. And I walked away.
Just walked away clean?
Walked away. Nothing.
Chopped?
Yeah. Just that was it. Done. At the time, I had Back to the Old Pool Festival up and running.
Yes.
We did the first one in 2016.
Is that facing Stanley Park?
On the field. Yep. And I teamed up with a couple of guys, friends of mine from Manchester, who have an agency and really good with promoting and doing events. And Eddie Halliwell's agent, and you know, and we did Back to the Old Pool. We needed to sell probably 2,200, 2,400 tickets to get a profit out of it. Yeah. And we sold 1,800 tickets. So the first year, we made a loss. And we'd all put 5 grand in each. You know, it doesn't sound a lot. We were hedging on the ticket sales doing well and being able to pay artists. Yeah, yeah, of course. Because we knew a lot of the artists, we don't have to pay booking fees and
this, that, and so it was on a whim, really.
And everything else got paid after the event. Yeah. You know, the marquees, the tents, the sound and light. Yeah. So it was a big gamble, and I remember it costing about 140 grand to put on one day in the field, and that's everything. That's the fencing, the marquees, the toilets, the bars, the stock, the staff, the wages.
It's not bad,
DJ
really.
fees, 140 grand for it, and it was probably 30 odd DJs. Yeah. I think trying to get a new brand off the ground, you're not going to make money in year one. You know, year one's always the most difficult. Yeah. So, but what it did was it put a bit of a rift between, because what Mike and Sandra asked, make Mark a partner. And anybody that's ever come across Mark Nordren will know he's never really been anything operational to do with their clubs. Right. I'm trying my very best to speak nicely of him. He put 5 grand in that he got off his dad. I put my own money in. Barry and Simon put their own money in. So we lost our money because we ended up losing about 30 grand. Yeah. The stress I felt at the time was everything was on me. It was my company, my everything, all the contracts were in my name, you know, my company's name. Yeah. We ended up having to fold the company. But we walked away only losing money ourselves. Yes. So everybody got paid. Yeah. All the suppliers, all the DJs, everybody got paid. So we're like, actually, do you know what? All right, we can take that on the chin. Yeah, of course. Because what we did was actually really good.
Yeah, really good.
That first year wasn't rammed, but it was really good.
Yeah, it's good.
So after we did it, because it's council land, the council come to us and said, do you want to do the promenade next year? Mm. I was like, what? So you do know this is a rave, yeah?
Yeah.
Nobody's ever done a rave on the prom. So that, in my head, I'm like, I could be the first person ever to put a rave on Blackpool prom.
On Blackpool prom, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's a no-brainer, absolutely. But in hindsight, thinking about it, looking at the extra cost involved, because when you build a marquee, you're knocking pegs into the ground.
Yeah, of course.
Can't do that on the prom.
No. You're on concrete.
You need water ballast, you need different fencing, you need steel shield instead of Harris. And it's like, oh.
Big learning curve.
The cost kind of ran away a little bit in the second year. However, because it was on the prom, we made profit.
Yeah.
So it cost a lot more, but we made probably 30 grand profit.
What was the costings on the second event?
200 plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's headlining?
It was Chicane and who else? Oh gosh, Sonic, Jules, Dave Pearce, all the usual suspects on the main stage, and then we had a More Cake tent, we had a Sanctuary tent, we had a Syndicate Trance Arena tent because I've revived the Syndicate Trance brand. And then obviously I built it. I did the site. I was the one there doing the work. So when we're talking about my other three partners, they were marketing and promotion, and Mark was whatever Mark was. Just got pissed on the day, got off his nut as usual. And I don't care what if people look at this and go, oh, you were best friends with him. It's a relationship of necessity. That's what it was. It was his mum and dad that did everything. So the thing for me, when it comes to the end of that one, I was coming to the end of. We just opened Home and HQ on 2018, and things were quite frayed. 2017, sorry. So when it comes to the event in 2018, we were doing 3 days. The after parties were at the venue. I was coming towards the end of my time there because I wasn't getting looked after. And we did a massive event on that Saturday. If we'd have just done the Saturday in 2018, we'd have creamed it. Yeah. Absolutely creamed it. It was 30 degrees. Yeah. The hottest day of the year. The Red Arrows flew over. Yeah. And England, Sweden on the screens. They won 2-0. Yeah.
Just everything in your favour.
We had Faithless, Example, Roger Sanchez, Murillo, Oakenfold. We just went big. And it was 340,000 quid that year.
Wow.
The Friday didn't sell very well. We had Faithless, Example, Roger Sanchez, Danny Howe, and a few others. And I think the reason why it didn't sell well is it was England-Sweden on the Sunday. And people don't generally like going clubbing on a Friday. It's weird. Yeah. The Saturday was back to the old pool. That was incredible. We took the majority of our money on the.
That's what everyone was waiting for.
But the Friday. So in the end, I said to the guys, I went, "We're not selling. We sold like 700 tickets. Yeah. We need 5,000 people on that site. If we don't get at least 2,500, 3,000, 4,000 people, we're going to be bankrupt. No, you guys won't be bankrupt. It's my company. It's my house. That it's all riding on. So the stress levels for me were through the roof.
Crazy.
So what we did was, and this saved our bacon a little bit, went to the NHS, went to the council, and we offered a pair of tickets. Can we do it on your internal service? Give a free pair of tickets for the Friday night. Yeah. We put nearly 4,000 people on there. Yeah. But they were all drinking.
Yeah.
So we got the bar revenue.
Yeah.
Saturday again, fantastic. The Sunday we did a family fun day. Now, as I say them words, I'm like, why the fuck did I agree to do a family fun day? Now, in hindsight, my little boy was 6 or 7 years old then, or 5, 6. I can't remember 2018. What was he born? Yeah, 2012. So he'd have been 5 or 6. Yeah. And he'd loved CBeebies and all that. And so we had Andy from CBeebies as the host. We had Peppa Pig. We had this, that, and the other. Oh my God. It was a headache. And again, blazing weather. Yeah. But one thing we didn't anticipate, and I should have done as an adult because I've never done it, is parents don't get pissed with their kids. Yeah. We hoped they'd all come and have a drink and da-da-da. No. So we took no bar revenue that day. We did well ticket-wise. Did about 1,800, 2,000 tickets. So the place was rammed. Yeah. But yeah, it was just a hard thing. On the Saturday of Back to the Old Pool, we had the after party at the club. And bearing in mind, I didn't get to go and enjoy it. I was back on the site, cleaning up. We had a big bottle of vodka, for the DJs, and most of these DJs were playing at the after party for nothing.
Yeah.
I got pulled into the office on the Monday, and Sandra and Mike went, "Man, who authorised a bottle of vodka?" And bearing in mind, it's a 1.5 litre. It's 50 quid, 70 quid.
All right, 1.5 litre.
Yeah, a big one,
All right, yeah. Not much.
No, well, I think it was a Belvedere 1.5. It's probably about 80 quid.
Yeah.
I'm sat there listening to them venting at me after what I've just given them the biggest weekend they've had in that club, Friday and Saturday, with the after parties.
Yeah.
It's cost the club nothing.
Right.
And they're moaning about an £80 bottle of vodka.
Yeah.
And I got up and walked out. I went,
I'm not surprised.
You fucking guys can deal with this. I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah.
I said, if you think for 1 minute the after party next year is going to be in here, you're dreaming.
Yeah.
What? I went, what do I get out of it?
Yeah.
What have you had out of it? A full club, massive bar revenue.
Yeah.
Piss off.
I can see where it's coming.
You tight bastards.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
Then I was leaving. So the where all the beef started was I said to Mark, "You're now not part of the festival. I'm not part of that. I'm an HQ. So I'm going to remove you from the festival. Can't do that. I think you find I can. It's my festival." Well, it's our festival's 4 partners, yeah. I brought in the 4 partners.
Yeah.
It's my festival. It's my company name, my property that it's listed to. I'm the one that's put it together, all the lineup and everything. The other guys helped with the lineup and did the marketing as well with their guys.
Yeah.
And they're valuable guys, them other guys, but they sided with Mark. Right. So we all fell out. I was just like, fine, fair enough.
See you later.
I'll do it on my own.
Yeah.
No problem.
And
that's where all this nonsense came from.
Yeah.
Because it was like the kid that had his sweets taken off him. You can't do that. I think you'll find I can. And I will. And I am doing it.
Go on.
So when I did Back to the Old Pool in 2019 at the Pleasure Beach, and not on the prom.
That was a good event.
It was a great event.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh, the slating I got. Look what he's done. He's ruined this brand. I went, yeah, it's my brand to ruin.
He didn't ruin any brand. It was brilliant. It was a brilliant event.
Back to the Old Pool's still a viable thing. I still use it to this day.
Of course.
Yes, I haven't done the festival since because COVID came along.
Yeah.
Wallop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course it did. Yeah.
And then I'm getting older. I'm slowing down DJ-wise.
Yeah.
And I got an opportunity to open a bar.
Yes, you did, yeah.
So everything else kind of took a back seat. None of us seen COVID coming, obviously, otherwise I'd have probably planned a little bit different. But
where did you how did you so the name of the bar, where did that one come from? No, the rum bar.
Yeah, it was called Marley's Rum Bar.
Yeah.
And obviously it was Bob Marley.
Yeah.
Was a big influence. I've been around the Caribbean a lot.
Yeah.
I'm a massive fan of rum.
Yeah.
The first drink I ever had was a rum and Coke or Malibu and pineapple, I think, which is like the cheapest white rum. But hey, no, just my obsession with reggae and R&B and soul and funk as well, because I've always loved all that. And Blackpool loves the theme.
Yes.
I think I just got the idea if I try and open a bar here and do old school or do this, that and the other, I don't think it'll work in this location. We'll come forward to the Retro Lounge, why that's working as an old school bar, but not the rum bar.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do a fun bar.
Yeah.
There's been quite a few R&B and hip hop clubs and things around Blackpool, but they'd all fallen by the wayside. And I think location was a big part of it. Where that bar has been there, where I did it on the Strand. It's been there for 40, 50 years as a bar. But for the last 20 odd years, it's not worked.
Yeah.
And I was always walking past it going, why in that location is that bar not busy?
Why was it?
I don't know. It was a shithole.
Right.
That's when it was called the Strand and what have you.
Marketing.
It was carsy.
Yeah.
It was awful. You got Pop World, Walkabout there, and then this little bar here. Why is it not busy? It's at the back of what is now Trilogy, the old home in HQ.
Yeah.
And I was scratching my head all the time going, why is this not working? And the last people that I try to do like little techno raves and stuff, it was awful.
Yeah.
You walk in and there's electric wires hanging off the ceiling and toilets were a disaster.
Yeah.
It was disgusting.
Yeah.
So I got it for nothing. The guy who's the landlord there, he's renting the building himself, and he said, "Do you want it?" I said, "Yeah, I'll have it, but you have to sort the toilets out."
Yeah.
So I made him pay for the toilet.
Yeah.
And then and then I threw everything at it I had, everything of my savings that I had left. And then COVID come along. I was fortunate enough to take a bit of a bounce back loan as well. That paid towards it.
Right.
I borrowed some money,
yeah,
which 4.5 years down the line, I've just paid back. So I'm now debt free.
And it panned out
which
for
is
you
a big
well.
thing.
It's done.
It's a big thing.
Yeah.
The company's not debt free, but I am.
Yeah.
For the first time since I left the syndicate.
Really?
So if you look at that time period, from 2010 to 2025, it's took me 15 years.
Big weight off your
to
shoulders.
get back on my feet.
Yeah.
It is. You know, and it's not been without its difficulties.
Yeah.
Because I still like a lifestyle. I still like going away on holidays. I still, you know, we don't change our life, but you've got to adjust.
Of course.
You know, when you've had everything and lose everything.
Yeah.
To get it back again is very difficult.
Yeah.
And I'm not rich. God, everybody thinks I'm loaded. I've got 2 bars. I still drive a 16-year-old Range Rover.
Yeah.
You know, I still live in the same house I bought 17 years ago. Still got a mortgage on it.
Yeah.
I still pay my bills like everybody else.
Yeah.
If I was rich, I wouldn't be in this country. And I don't exaggerate when I say that. I'd be in Thailand or I'd be in America or somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because we all know what's happening in this country at the minute. It feels like it's going to the dogs at the minute. It really does, with all the taxes and the immigration fears and it's just everything that's going on in the world at the moment. It feels like it's boiling point. It really does.
But you're doing all right. You're keeping afloat, and your bars are always busy.
So the rum bar. I mean, you know, obviously I had a bit of a help with that. With Channel 5 filmed me doing it up on Bargain Loving Brits by the Sea.
Right.
And it aired 9 days before I opened.
Right. I didn't actually watch that one.
Yeah, they were just following me around buying cheap furniture and cheap speakers and doing whatever I could to get the place ready for opening.
Yeah.
And it was good. It was insightful. And what it did was it helped people relate more to what I have to do to get a bar open.
Yeah, of course.
And I said at the beginning, I'm going to spend 10 grand. And I mean, I think I spent 80 grand on it in the end, you know, with what I borrowed and with the bounce back and with what I had.
People don't realise, do they?
I know. And when COVID hit, the bar was nearly ready to open, and then COVID just come along and slapped everybody.
Yeah.
And then I ran out of money. I literally had nothing to my name, and I was probably 80 grand in debt.
Wow.
And so I was just sat there going, right, I'm not getting any grants.
Yeah.
The bounce back is keeping me head above water.
Yeah.
You know, first time in my life, I had universal credit.
Really?
I had to claim off the government. I was really embarrassed about that because I was one of them kind of people. I don't want to claim benefits, you know.
Yeah.
But I had no choice. And then in the end, the guys at the benefits office were saying, you know, you can still have a part-time job if you can do anything, delivery, driving or whatever. I was like, all right, okay. On top of them paying, because all the universal credit did was paying my rent, on my mortgage and my rent, because I was split up with my wife at this point.
Right.
And so I was having to pay the mortgage and my rent.
Yeah.
And I had nothing left to live off.
Really?
So I got a little job driving for Amazon.
Really?
Oh my. You know, I said the Navy was the hardest job I've ever done.
Yeah.
Amazon's right there with it, I tell you. So imagine though, so everybody's locked down and you're a delivery driver. In the history of delivery driving, it's the busiest time ever in the history of delivery driving. Because everybody's having everything delivered. And it was torture.
Yeah.
It was exploitation. It was way below minimum wage. It was disgusting. Amazon, not maybe Amazon themselves, but the couriers that they work with are slave drivers. Absolute fucking slave drivers.
But survival, you needed to survive.
And listen, it got me a few more quid and kept me going. It was like I say, really hard job. I ended up busting my knee near Christmas time. Slippery floors and steps and busted my knee. Yeah. Couldn't work again. Just like you couldn't make this up, you know what I mean? And then my mate, who owns a furniture shop in Blackpool, Steve Musson, says, I'm going to go to Dubai for a month. Do you want to come with me? Maybe see if you can get some gigs out there because it's still open there.
Yeah.
Went to Dubai. The day we arrived in Dubai, the UK shut down again.
Right.
Like, oh, God. So we were stuck there.
Yeah.
So I thought, right, well, I've got to make this work. So I took my decks with me and we started doing live
streams.
Took
your vinyls with you again?
No, not the vinyl, but the decks and the laptop
and the USBs.
And USBs, yeah. And we obviously, I've done, a lot of people probably remember we did a lot of live streams in COVID. So I took my laptops with me so that I could still do some live streaming. And went to try and get some gigs in Dubai. And I've got a lot of contacts in Dubai. But it's now cutthroat there. we talked about DeVito before. DeVito would gladly help me and get me some gigs if the companies were booking people like me.
Yeah.
They wanted young girls.
Female DJs.
They wanted we want a look.
Yeah.
They weren't asked if they could play or not.
Yeah.
They just want a good look. And some 40-odd-year-old fat DJ turning up. It's getting no gigs, So that was tough. And I ended up getting some gigs, and then Dubai got restrictions, and you weren't allowed out in Dubai.
So that locked it down, yeah.
I was trapped there, man. It was horrible. And then I got COVID for the first time. And I was all right with COVID, thankfully, touch wood.
I think everyone was. Most people were.
No, I know there's a lot of misinformation and a lot of people saying it was just like a cold. It was for me.
Yeah, same.
Lost my sense of smell. That was about it.
Yeah.
But do you know what? I was like, okay, right, I'm here. I was away from my girlfriend, away from my kids, and it was tough.
Yeah.
But I was in a 5-star hotel that was paid for by the government and paid for, and weirdly enough, I normally fly Emirates every time. I love Emirates. I love the A380, the big double-decker. It's a fantastic airplane. Steve had booked the flights and he likes Etihad.
Right.
But I tell you something, the saving grace of going Etihad was there. In the ticket, you had a COVID insurance policy.
Right.
That if you got COVID, or if you were hit by a lockdown, they would pay for your hotel. They would pay for your meals. They would pay for everything. They put 1,500 quid in my bank. Yeah. Like, what the hell?
Nice.
So only because it was Etihad and they had a brilliant insurance with AXA. So that saved my bacon being there.
Yeah.
Anyway, gets home eventually in April, and we come out of lockdowns in May. Open the bar. Bargain Loving Brits on the telly. 9 days later, it went off like a rocket.
And it's still going off.
It's still going. The rum bar's doing phenomenal. Yeah. Really, really well. Another silly story, but obviously I called it Marley's Rum Bar. A tribute, if you like, to Bob Marley and reggae, and it was like a love story for me. And then a year into it, I get a solicitor's letter out of the blue from Mish Conde Raya in London saying you have to change the name.
Really?
You have to seek legal advice. Like, wow. Now, I can't really go into it too much because there's a covenant in the agreement that I can't talk about it.
No, yeah.
But yeah, I had to change the name because Bob Marley's family didn't like it.
Yeah, my cousin had to do the same thing. He had a smash burger in Preston.
Yeah, I know about it,
Yeah. So her and her partner, my cousin and her partner, they had to change the name. They lost the bottle as well.
Yeah.
It's a shame, really. How these. It's somewhere in America. It's someone in America that was
control,
why?
Control and money. If you're not greasing their wheels, they're not interested.
No, not at all.
So I called it Fubar's Rum Bar.
Yeah.
My DJ career has seen me make good success in Blackpool, and I've been associated with all the best venues. I didn't actually want to call it Fubar's Rum Bar at the beginning. I was thinking of calling it Trench Town or, Montego Bay or something, something quirky. And I spoke to Pete Schofield. I said, do you remember when you opened your first place and called it Schofield? You're not like worried that people think, big head, calling it after yourself. Who do you think you are and all that? He went, no, it's my name.
Yeah.
And I worked for Peter Stringfellow for a little while, and Stringfellows, he's now passed away, sadly. And I remember saying to him one night, like, you're in your bar every day you're here. Apart from he goes to Mallorca a bit, or used to. He said, it's my name above the door. If I'm not here, it don't work. Yeah. And it sort of rung with me a little bit, All right, fair enough. I'll call it Fubar's Rum Bar. Yeah. And it's had a great success story. It really has.
Brilliant answer. Thank you for that.
still going strong.
Yeah.
Which is good.
So when did you what gave you the inspiration for the Retro Lounge?
So Retro Lounge came about after the closure of Marvin's. So Marvin's, who own places in Polton and Lytham, and they opened one on South Shore and they opened one in Town Centre, Blackpool. Yeah. The owner is a really good friend of mine. He's called Alex Huckabee. Yeah. And we were on a skiing holiday together, and he's like, I'm going to have to sell Town Centre. It's not worked out how we thought it'd work out, and blah, 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 for whatever reason. And I just said to him, would you consider renting it? And he's like, renting's a pain in the arse. You having to chase your rent all the time. I said, well, what about renting it to me? And he was like taken aback, like, what, you'd have it? Yeah, I'd have it. And I just thought, then I can do because it's about 200 capacity. I was thinking then I could do, you know, some old school DJs, and this, I had a plan in my head.
Back to the old pool.
Yeah, almost
Still
like
there.
a, you know, mini back to the old pool, like a mini bar. Anyway, we did the deal, and we opened it in August of 2024. My gut feeling was that if we had a place for over 30s, over 40s to go, where there's no kids, there's no 18, 19, 20-year-olds like there are in Trilogy and Walkabout, and because a lot of the adults won't go in there because of that.
Yeah, same.
And something musically that caters for people like myself and people who like going to old school events, because the old school events are doing phenomenal everywhere around the country. And I wanted somewhere that I could put on guest DJs and nights and back to the old pools and
back to your roots
and day raves and do stuff like back to my roots, doing stuff that I'm passionate about musically.
Yeah.
So we opened in August of 2024, and I'm not going to lie, the first 8 months were torture.
Yeah.
It didn't work. It took 8 months of tinkering, pulling, trying different things, trying this, trying that. And then we never put any guest DJs on at the beginning. I had a really good friend of mine, Jimmy C from Liverpool, come and play. His musical knowledge is second to none. Didn't really work with Jimmy. And I played for 3 months, and it was getting better, but it just felt like we're pissing against the wind here because. And I was thinking, it's the location. It's on Clifton Street. It's away from the town centre. But I thought being away from the town centre, you know, we're only 50 yards away, but I thought being that far away, people will come because they're nowhere near where all the young kids go. It just took so long. So we turned the corner. We had Paul Taylor from Retro on, and we had Dave Pearce on in February and March. And those events sold out. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was only £5, £7, £8 a ticket, tenner at tops. And we did really well, and the bar did well, and it gave the Friday a bit of a boost as well. And I was like, oh. And it slowly but surely started to find its feet. And we now do 3-4 events a month. So every Saturday there's something on, whether it be a business reunion or a palace reunion or a superstar DJ from back in the day. We've got K-Class again. We've got Dave Pearce again. We've got John Please Women. We've got, you know, a few different events, and we have actually got a younger person's event that we're doing, and we're dipping our toe a little bit because there's some guys around the town that do events that do really, really well, and they're a lovely crowd.
Who's this?
They do an event called you put me on the spot now. It's Bounce to This. It's not technically bounce what we know as bounce. It's more of the newer, the Hannah Lang stuff and the and the you know, the Marlon Hofstad stuff. So it's the more newer banging tunes. But I've seen a couple of their videos, and the energy and the crowd and everybody's up for it, and it's happy and it's uplifting. Yeah, these guys are really good. I wonder if they fancy doing a little night out. So they're doing an event at ours in October and November.
Oh, nice.
So, and we're still pushing on, you know. At the end of the day, I haven't given up on the scene. I've come close a few times to just hang the boots up. You know, I now pick and choose when I DJ rather than having to do every Friday, Saturday, because in the end, after the end of Trilogy, it felt a bit monotonous. I was doing Trilogy to the young crowd and playing the young music, but it just felt like they weren't getting it. Or they didn't want it. I was thinking maybe it's me.
It's probably the ketamine, mate.
It wasn't me. Whatever factor of them not getting into it, I don't know what it was, but I'd kind of given up on the scene a little bit. And then it'd take me going somewhere else to say, oh, actually, it's not there. It's not me. It's them. It's that crowd. They're not asked.
No,
there's been waves, peaks and troughs in the industry since I've been doing it 35 years now. And it's been educational. I've learnt more in the last 2 years than I have in 30 years of how to adapt to what's changing now. Yeah, and the changes that I've seen, and you know, the peaks and the troughs of those 35 years, it felt like that last year and probably the previous 18 months that I was kind of falling out of love with it a little bit. And that's why being a bar owner kind of took me in a different direction. It gives me the freedom to do bigger events and better events, and I am contemplating doing Back to the Old Pool again next year.
Really?
So that's in the pipeline at the moment. I've got one to get back on the prom.
Yeah.
There's a really strong option for that, to work with another event that's on the prom, and we share the costs, share the production and the site costs.
Double the revenue, yeah.
Well, for us, it's I need to run the bars to make a profit. You can't do an event just on tickets these days.
Yeah.
So as long as we can do that kind of deal, then we'll be laughing. If not, then maybe back in a field in Blackpool, which I've got my eyes on.
Right. Nice.
Yeah.
Brilliant, Mr. Fubar.
Try my best.
Jason, what would you give? So 5 tips to young DJs or to producers or anybody coming up in the music industry in the scene, the club scene. Mm-hmm. What 5 tips could you give to them?
Work. It literally takes work on every level. So, taking no is not a rejection. No is just not now.
Yeah.
I've had my fair share of rejections over the years. You've got to put in what you want to get out of it. You've got to put into it. Yeah. Produce music. Learn how to produce music. It's easier now to learn anything because of YouTube and because of websites, tutorials. Make music, make mixes, do a SoundCloud, do a Mixcloud.
So social media.
So, putting your music on a platform that you can then share on social media.
Right, yeah.
So
market yourself.
Growing yourself, marketing yourself, come up with a brand for yourself and be proud of what you've come up with and then push it. Yeah. And it doesn't happen overnight. That's one of the main things. It will not happen overnight. People look at I like to make an example of people like James Hype. Yeah. James Hype is global now. He's massive all over the world. Yeah. But James Hype was a resident DJ in a shitty bar, in a shitty club. And then he started making music, then he started his socials, then he started this, that, and that,
so
doing
persistent.
His mixes. You've just got to keep going, never give up. But one thing I would say to top it all off is to have a backup of a job. Have a job. It might be flipping burgers at McDonald's, it might be waiting tables, it might be bar job.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Just make sure you've got the funds to be able to do what you're going to do. Yeah. Not everybody's got rich parents. Not everybody, James Hype didn't have rich parents. I didn't have rich parents. I don't, You've got to put 100% max effort into it, and don't take rejections and no's as take it to heart. It's not you. It's just not the right time for you. Yeah. I got the opportunity. I was, there's a bit of luck in it, but also the harder you work, the luckier you get. Yeah. You just got to put the graft in. Yeah. It's all about the graft.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that. Absolutely fantastic. Well, cheers for coming into the show.
My pleasure.
It's been a pleasure having you. And hopefully your event does well next year. Next year, isn't it? Next year,
2026,
2026. And good luck for the future.
Appreciate it.
Brilliant.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Paulie.